Hello, good evening, and welcome to the fifth round of the VMS Gold Split Pro Series, I think it is, here at the Virtual Motorsport Series. It is a Pro Series, I remember that correctly. Very good evening to all of you back at home joining us for once again a new round here at the Virtual Motorsport Series. As you can see, we are at the Interdroma, the Monza in Italy, the Temple of Speed, of course, opened in 1922, 5.7 kilometers, 3.6 miles and 11 corners of high-speed action with a lot of heavy braking zones, a lot of high-speed back straights all over the place, which should provide plenty of crazy action. As Lexio is already pointing out in the YouTube chat, Monza T1 gonna be wild as always, even in the gold split, where the driving standard is as high as it is. There will be carnage guaranteed. My name is Sverre Kolman. Later on, we'll be joined by Edward Hunter as well. He'll be joining us a bit later on. And pushing all the buttons and pulling all the levers is Niclas Domino in the background, providing you with all the good views around this racing track. It's going to be a good one once again. It's been a little while since I've been here, so maybe a little bit rusty, but it's all going to be fine. As you can see, we are straight into qualifying for LMGT3. We have 25 minutes in total in this session. The first 10 are for our LMGT3 fields. Then we have 5 minutes of a break. And then the final 10 minutes are for our Hypercar field, all within one session. And all of these cars, of course, seeing one another on track as well, which provides a little bit of an extra challenge throughout. And as you can see on the lovely graphic that we've been running now for a number of weeks, we have a bunch of new updates. For instance, the virtual energy, as you can see on Clemens Keinsel, is currently on 69% energy. So, and you can see the logo of the car that he is running as well. So we're still improving on these lovely graphics each and every week. If you have any feedback or suggestions what we can do, please feel free to point them out in the YouTube chat, and we will see what we can do. And it's always a pleasure to read through all the suggestions and the things you all have to say back at home. On board and with Clemens Keinsel in the second, with one of the two Ferraris in this field. Of course, the other one in the hands of Kelsey Osborne, currently in P11 in the number 29. And this is Clemens Keinsel. Take a look at the current standings. He is still leading those standings in LMGT3. He is on 76 points after 4 rounds. That includes a win in the first round, the endurance round at Silverstone, 38 points there, and just 2 points at Sebring, but then 2 second places in a row, both Imola and Qatar as well. So he's on a good form once again, 76 points, 59 points. Matteo De Bueno in the Lamborghini Huracan, number 25. And just a single point behind him is Giacomo Mattaresi in the Ford Mustang. Of course, Giacomo Mattaresi had a terrible start of the season, 0 points at Silverstone and just 8 points in Sebring, but then 2 victories in a row, and he scored 50 points in those two rounds, and he's just a single point behind Matteo De Bueno, who took the victory at Sebring. So 4 rounds, 3 different winners, and still out to play for between those 3 guys. And about 9 points back is Julien Geurin in the Porsche in P4, the number 23. Zoranovic in P5 on 33 points. Kevin Bauer in the other Porsche in P6, the 722 on 27 points. Equal points is Jules Neal in the McLaren, number 10. He is in P7, and that's Jack Bolger then behind him in the Porsche. I was still Bolger was driving a different car, but I might be mistaken there. But he's running the number 7 Porsche, 23 points. Arthur Honthart in P9 in the McLaren, 21 points, and Evan Lepoux in P10, also in the Porsche, 18 points. So still a lot of things to play for then. Just a quick mention, the Mattia Panchi, you can see him there. He's in the Lexus. He switched cars. He used to be running the McLaren 720S in the GT3 field, but he made the switch to the Lexus. So he's back to 0 points. A late call over halfway through the season, but he made the switch nonetheless. So that's going to be interesting to see how that works out for him. The first lap times have been put on the board, a 49.7 for Giacomo Mattaresi. He's off to a good start in this session in the Ford Mustang. Clemens Keinsel is a green sector 1 for him, 4.5 tenths quicker than his last lap time. Is currently not a lap time on the board right now, so probably a in the valid lap time there. Jacopo Materesi going quicker again through 2 purple sectors. Once again in number 14 Ford Mustang. Going very quick indeed. And looking all nice and tidy through Ascari as well. And this could be a very, very quick lap on the board indeed. As a reminder, we are not running tire warmers in this session or in this championship even. So all the drivers have to do a lot of work to get those tires up to the right working operating temperature. So it will take a number of laps before you see the proper quick lap times on the board then over the finish line. And it is not an improvement. I think it is an improvement with 49.7. So a bit quicker. There goes Keinsel now going purple, 49.4. Very quick lap time indeed. But Bueno going second, 49.5. And Materesi down in third after those laps. Jules Geuring goes fourth quickest in the 49.7. So very close there at the top. As we look at the current intervals, it's less than a tenth between multiple drivers there in the top 10, which is always very good to see. Jack Bolger now going P5 ahead of Rieu and Punchy, then in that Lexus going 7th quickest, with Kelsey Osborne in the second Ferrari in P8, Lebrun P9 and Kurjan in P10 as it stands. Materesi going quick once again at purple sector 1. I think he lost out somewhere across that lap. It was improved by 3/10 then. It was 49.4 was his last lap, so he did see an improvement there. Oh, that's the quickest. That's a target lap. Never mind. See, this is. I'm also figuring out all the new updates that we're having across these lovely new graphics. So the target lap, current fastest lap, is a 49.4, and through sector 2, so it's yellow sector 2. So not an improvement this time around through there for the Mustang driver. Still a long way to go, and this is where the American muscle car really comes to life on the back straight. And this could be a good lap, at least a challenge for pole position. Currently 2.5 tenths down. And coming through Parabolica, this could be a good one. And let's see what it does. He is quick enough for P1, so 48.9. The first ones to go into the 48, and provisional pole position by half a second for Jacopo Materesi. And while I'm finishing that up, I'm gonna welcome Edward Hunter to the commentary booth. Good evening, Ed.
Yeah, hello. So I was just otherwise engaged in another commentary that's just finished. I don't know how much longer I've got to dinner though, so it might be that I have to do just the duty-free qualifying and then come back for the race. But yeah, this is an exciting round, isn't it? Monza, Temple of Speed, and Matrese very much picking up where he left off the last 2 rounds on these first runs, isn't he? 148.9, and Jaco, it's definitely been the man in form, and the Ford Mustang has definitely been the car of choice. But you see Marco Di Buono only a tenth down on him in his home race in Lamborghini. So Marco has got all the Italian population, I think, cheering for him. Jacopo Matrese, though, driving for a very, very popular Italian team in Tatum Esports. So if those two end up being the ones fighting for victory, it could be interesting. And Matteo Panci, of course, who switched to the Lexus, abandoned all his points this time. He was our pole sitter at Imola. Let's hope this Italian track suits him a little bit kinder than Imola did on the first lap.
Yeah, hopefully for him it does. It's looking good so far for Panci in third. The quickest of the 2 Lexus, and just 2 tenths shy of provisional pole position. So right now it's still very early days. It's only about 10 minutes in this car switch for him, but it's looking very good so far. It's looking at least a lot more competitive than the McLaren, which is currently in P12 in the hands of Michel Rodriguez, a second off. So I think he made a correct choice there by going to the Lexus.
And there is our championship leader, Clemens Keinsel. And Clemens leads by about 18 points, 17 or 18 points, isn't it, that he leads over Di Buono?
17, yeah.
17, yeah, 76 to 59, with Matrese just a further point behind, 18 points down on the championship lead. Keinsel goes up to P3 in the Ferrari, another Italian car, of course, but Clemens Keinsel, German driver. It's a bit Schumacher-esque, Keinsel's some of his performances this season, not least that brilliant win in the season opener at Silverstone, and he's been banking the second places behind Matrese in the last couple of rounds, isn't he? So ideally, if Clemens Keinsel was just able to finish second and finish ahead of Matrese, if it was just those two fighting for the championship, it would be quite straightforward. But De Bueno is a bit of a fly in the ointment for the DCS racing team, isn't he? As you see, he is within 65 thousandths of a second of Matrosi's lap there. So De Bueno has definitely got something to prove then. He was back on the podium in Qatar after a bit of a difficult race in Imola, having won for the first time at Sebring. And De Bueno is looking to sort of consolidate his position on the front row and see if he can sneak away pole position. He's not quite been able to get pole. He nearly got it at Silverstone, didn't it, before he got taken away by, I think, Kolosov on the final run. So it's just a matter of whether you use that extra set of tyres or not when it comes to the endurance qualifying, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Of course, 8 tires are permitted to be used throughout both qualifying and the race. If you've watched the NLS race, you know what happens if you go over that, with Verstappen there being disqualified for using more tires than allowed. So it's just the 8 tires that you are allowed to use, and it really is, especially with when we had like a longer qualifying session, it was a choice of, am I going to use multiple tires on the qualifying or not? But this time around it's a bit more straightforward, but there is of course a strategy choice in am I going to start on those qualifying tires and make a switch to a new one later on. So that's going to be very interesting for the race, but I think that's GT3 qualifying pretty much done and dusted, and I think the 3 championship leaders are also the top 3 for this race. Never mind that.
You say that. So Mattia Panchi, brilliant middle sector in the Lexus there, and that he's definitely showing that if it's the McLaren 720S or the Lexus, he can be on the pace. Then he was very close to beating De Bono's time as well, but Matresi really putting a fantastic final effort there, and is 3.5 tenths ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, it's been a great lap for Jacopo Materesi, who does take pole position here in Italy. It's a home race for him, of course, so he'll be very happy about that. 3 tenths ahead of Mattia De Bueno in the Lamborghini Huracan, who himself is just 40 thousandths of a second ahead of Mattia Panchi in the Lexus 22. So first race in the Lexus for Mattia Panchi. It's been proving out to be a good choice so far. Clemens Keinsel in P4 in the Ferrari. Somehow he always manages to get that Ferrari up the road, even though the Ferrari is not really the quickest car out there, but he manages to do so still. So great job by him. Kolosov then in the second Lamborghini Huracan in 76. Also a great job by him, with Rieu the second Lexus in P6. Kurjan in P7. Kasi Osborne the second Ferrari in P8. Michel Rodriguez in the single McLaren 720S in this field in P9, with Rafael Rapin in P10 in the first, and I think the only Aston Martin Vantage in the field, with the 3 Porsches then behind Jules Guerin, Evan Leproux and Jack Bolger, and both Battistella and Juranovic have failed to set a lap time this qualifying session.
Yeah, I think they might have had some outstanding penalties, the both of them, wasn't it? From
that could be very
previous
true, yeah.
rounds, so there probably wasn't a whole lot of point in them taking part in qualifying. Now for the big one, isn't it? It's Hypercar coming up, and for qualifying. And this is really going to be all about Nashkinashvili and Beltrami, isn't it? They are turning into our very clear title contenders. Of course, Beltrami with that early win at Silverstone, but he's really let a couple opportunities slip through his fingers, hasn't he? And he's now gone from being he was about 45 points ahead of Nashkinashvili 2 rounds ago. Now he's only 20 points ahead. So Nashkinashvili, with those 2 wins on the trot, has got so much momentum behind him. The 499P is working brilliantly. Nashkinashvili was the one that immediately pounced for it before the update that made it so competitive, and he's reaped the benefits.
Yeah, he really has. So don't let the points difference say anything to you, really. Marco Beltrami has been quite a difficult run the last couple of races. He did get a podium in Imola as well, but other than that, it's been quite disappointing. And Nashkinashvili, as you say, 2 wins in a row in both Imola and Qatar. So he is on a very, very good run in that Ferrari 499P. And with the other Cadillacs also just falling back ever so slightly compared to him, I really think that he is able to bring the fight to Marco Beltrami in this season. Behind them, of course, we have Mateusz Barzank in third. He is just 5 points behind Nashkinashvili, but again, don't let that fool you. Nashkinashvili is on a good run. Nutsold, both Barzank and Nutsold had a difficult race in Qatar, both DNFing then, with Matteo Bassan, who's been struggling all season really, is still in P5, a single point behind Nutsold. Robin Deschamps in P6, Nathan Perron P7, Matteo Campo in P8 after making a car switch, and a second place in Qatar with Fabian Roth and Lucas Seeder running up the top 10. And this further down from P11 with Derezzo in the Peugeot, Betson in the Ferrari, Niclas Ulrich in the Valkyrie with Piccatti, Fedele and Farinelli all in the Cadillacs as well. And something that you might notice, Ed, Alphonse Velen made the switch to the Ferrari as well. He was driving the Porsche 2 weeks ago, the one and only Porsche in the field, but he did make the switch to the Ferrari 409P, hoping that that car will work better for him. And behind him, we have Francesco Adamo Colombo and Nonamaker, who are all yet to score any points in this championship.
Yeah, a bit of a shame in a way for Velen, because it was nice to cheer on the Porsche 963, but you can sort of understand that. But it shows his confidence, though, because that's quite a few points for P6 that he gave up, or P6 or P7, wasn't it? That he finished in the end in Qatar, that he's given up there by changing to Ferrari. But if he is one of our front runners, especially in qualifying, we saw how mixed up qualifying was with the Peugeots going very, very well in Qatar. So they could very much be a factor here. And we even saw at the start, it was Bartek and Beltrami on the second row that immediately launched through, wasn't it? That just sort of went either side of the Peugeots at the getaway, at the rolling start. And they were able to take the lead on the first lap. And Beltrami, I think, will be trying to brush that frustration from speeding in the pits, which cost him a chance to fight for victory and ended up with him finishing P5. He's got to put that out of his mind now, doesn't he? As the free Tatum Esports cars there you see at the front of this pack, with Nashkiashvili giving them a lot of pressure right behind them on the circuit itself. So he's coming for them in the championship. He's coming for them on the road as well. So quite an ominous sign.
Yeah, that's what you have to do, of course. Get in their head and try to play the mind games already, and then force them maybe into a mistake into turn one here. It's very easily done, especially with the cold tires. As you can see, they're still weaving all over the place, trying to warm them up. So I like seeing that, a bit of a mind game going on there potentially. It might just be a coincidence, of course, but I like to think it's a bit of a mind games going on there from Nashkiashvili, who is right behind these three runners. So. But yeah, as you were saying, but Remy was on such a good form in Qatar, and he was probably going to win the race, and well deservedly so, had he not made that mistake and had to make a drive-through at the last moment pretty much of the race, which allowed Nashkiashvili to win that race after starting at P8. So whatever happens in qualifying, really, with Nashkiashvili, I think he'll always be a good shout for a race win around here. Given how much race pace he has shown in that Ferrari 409P compared to the Cadillacs.
Indeed. We also see a comment from Strat445, I think was one of our GT3s that didn't go in qualifying. He said, dinner got in the way, so no quali for me. I know exactly how you think.
That does ring a bell, huh?
Yeah. Dinner bell, he might say. But anyway, Mladunovic is another of our Cadillacs in the 101. We saw just warming up the tires there. Tire preparation is going to be so key here, which is why these first runs are not going to be totally representative, really. But yeah, what could be the big surprises to watch out for here? Certainly our four Ferraris of Velen, Colombo, Nashkiashvili and Pezin, of course, are looking to now qualify. It was interesting that Nashkiashvili was 9th on the grid. He said that he didn't quite nail the lap in qualifying then. I also wonder, with it being such a high-speed circuit, if this could play to the strengths of the Alpine of Nathan Perron as well, that we saw was so strong at Silverstone. As we see De Campo lighting up that middle sector then. De Campo's another of our drivers. Wasn't he the one that set pole at Qatar, if memory serves?
I think he did, yeah.
He just beat the other Peugeot of Derezzo, if memory serves.
I think it was De Campo on pole, indeed, as he goes quicker now as well by 0.4 of a second. Like you were saying, the Alpine could go very strong in hands of Nathan Perron, but I think the Peugeots are also a very good shout. Of course, being made for Le Mans, the Le Mans is all about straight out speed as well as this track, so I wouldn't count out the Peugeots again as well for a shout of pole position around here. So see, it's one of the Cadillacs coming through the gravel, and waiting to see which one of it was. It's Fedele, who is currently in P15, the 97 Cadillac that is, running the Hertz Team Jota livery, I think.
I think Fedele has switched cars again.
I think you're right, yeah.
Because he has gone from Valkyrie to 499P to Cadillac. So He's sort of gone the exact opposite to what some of the other drivers have done. And it can just be maybe the Cadillac as a car that some of them prefer as well. It's going to be interesting if we do get it some wherever come the race, when we can talk about that maybe in the what's in the race director's notes, especially after the Platinum split race at Spa. Oh, speaking of Nathan Perron, he has gone straight into the wall coming out of Ascari there, and a big hit. Oh, and he's been collected. Oh dear, by Bandukovic.
Yeah, that's a big hit then. I'm kind of surprised that the Cadillac failed to see him there in the number 56, just kind of drifting to the left and then tapping the Alpine there with a huge crash there for the blue and white Cadillac. So kind of surprised that he wasn't able to avoid the Alpine there, but a huge shunt nonetheless, and puts them both on the back foot for this race. While all this is happening, Beltrami has gone quicker still, a 35.3 then, so still 4 tenths ahead of Erik Nutzold, who goes second quickest now. Lucas Cedar in third, and Bassan in fourth. And there's another crash for Mohamed Colombo in, I think,
he's gone straight
turn one. Yeah, that's turn one. Locking the rear
and the braking.
Yeah.
And he's taken the 50-meter board with him. Let's hope nobody was using that as a braking mark.
I mean, if you're braking at 50 meters, it's a bit too late, I think, for turn one. But it should be good. But
even at Monza, people have tried that.
That is very true. Yes, I am kind of surprised with how big the gaps are between like P1 and P7. That's all. It's all a second. So Beltrami is still 3 tenths ahead of now Petsin, who goes second quickest in one of the Ferraris. But it's almost 4 tenths of a second between the two. So Beltrami did something very right, or the rest of the field is just not able to extract the most out of their cars, which is very interesting to see around here.
Yeah, Peasant was, of course, as we see Bassan take pole position by a narrow margin there, less than a tenth of a second between himself and Beltrami, and now Nashkashvili slots right in between the two. There we go, so Nashkashvili up to P2 crucially. So a lot of drivers finally getting the tires up to temperature and in the right operating range and starting to excel.
Yeah, you can scratch that whole thing about me saying that the gaps are big. It's now the top 10, all within 7.5 tenths of a second. So now the gaps are coming down after all the tires are up to temperature. As you said, it's very difficult around here to get it in the correct operating window. But
yeah, they just keep
most of these guys
are straights, don't they?
They really do, yeah. It really is difficult through Ascari and Parabolica, of course, with the high speed that they're running at. So nailing that and getting it done properly is very, very difficult indeed. See Mathias Barzank currently in P10 now in the double 7. It's a good sector 2, almost 7 tenths quicker than his last lap. So this should be an improvement, I think. Coming through Parabolica again, it's 2 minutes on the clock, so he should be able to get to 1 or 2 laps done. Yeah, very P4 there. So a good improvement then. Still about 2 tenths off pole position. 10th and a half actually, so it is an improvement, but still a bit off from where he wants to be.
This is very much on a knife edge, isn't it, as we cut to Francesco Pesin then, fresh off that first podium in Qatar, wasn't he? He was on the bottom step, but that really vindicated his decision, I guess, to switch to the 499P, and he's really hoping to at least get onto the second row here, maybe even pole position. He has set a very strong first sector. Nashkashvili steals pole position away from Matteo Bassan. So looks like, the Tandem Esports cars locking up into that first chicane at the Redifilio. Nashkashvili getting a bit of a tow from Erik Notsold as well. So interesting, everybody placing themselves for maximum effect as Beltrami goes back to the pits with 1 minute remaining. So that could be it for the championship leader.
I think it will be a replay of Adamo, who had him. He just went on straight into turn 1, not locking up anything, but just not braking early enough to make the corner, and he gets back to the pit lane unscathed, unfortunately for him. But I think that's pretty much everything that Tatum could have thrown at Nashkashvili. Beltrami is already in the pit lane, and Nashkashvili, it's a bad sector 1 with a 6 tenths off, so this won't be an improvement or anything near his provisional pole position lap time, but it's a stellar of a lap, 62 thousandths of a second ahead of Matteo Bassan, and this could be just enough to get ahead of all the Tandem Esports cars. Barzank now gets ahead of Beltrami as well for P3, and those Cadillacs just not able to bridge those final couple of thousandths of a second. Really is what we're talking about. Very, very impressive stuff by David Nashkashvili.
Indeed it is, and we've almost come to expect that now, haven't we? With the form that he is on, he just really feels outwon driver in crime. When you talk to David, he never seems at the end of a race, particularly even what races that he wins, even at the end of Qatar, which was a brilliant strategic drive, but he wasn't really expecting to win. He didn't seem all that surprised by the. He was always like, "This is exactly what was supposed to happen." Was this tone of his response? He's very
completely
cool,
unfazed,
calm, and collected. As we see Pez in a little bit down in that middle sector here, so it's all or nothing as he exits Ascari and goes on the long run to the Parabolica Michele Alboreto corner. And is this going to be an improvement for Francesco Pezin? Him and Mladun Dukovic in the Cadillac has gotten up to P6 actually. So good qualifying from him, who we've not seen a whole lot of so far this season. But Pezin now towards the line. I don't think it's going to be enough, but it is for P3. There we go. Gets just in ahead of Mateusz Barzink then. So Francesco Pezin ends qualifying exactly where he ended the race in Qatar.
Yep, great stuff by Pezin. Moves up to third. He is on a good lap. It's about 7/10 improvement in sector 1 and 2/10 in sector 2. Keeping within track limits, I think that's track limits, I think. Wow. And a spin as well.
There we go.
So
Colombo never disappoints in terms of his adventures, does he?
That's very true.
That's going to be P16 on the last of qualifiers at a time. Looks like Fidele did not get out there in the end in the Cadillac, and neither did Fabian Roth or Eric Nonenmacher in the Toyota. Oh, just heard the call for dinner, but before I get down, it's probably always the worst time, isn't it? Davin Ashkenashvili then takes pole position by 62 thousandths of a second from Matteo Bassan. Francesco Pezin will line at third, just 70 thousandths off of pole position. Mateusz Barzink, 10th and a half down in P4, and our championship leader Beltrami will start P5. So it's almost a rerun of where he finished in Qatar at the moment. Lots of work for Beltrami to do. Mardukovic takes his first top 6 in qualifying ahead of Eric Notzold. Lucas Cedar is 8th. Francesco Damu is P9, and the top 10 is rounded out by Daniele Farinelli. 11th is Robin Deschamps, the Peugeots, struggling in qualifying. Matteo De Campo is P12. Alfonso Vellin is P13 in the Ferrari. Michele De Rezzo is P14. Nathan Perron starts 15th ahead of Mohamed Colombo in 16th. Then it is Antonio Fidele, Fabian Roth, and Eric Nonenmacher at the rear of the starting grid.
And I think with that, we're going to say goodbye to Ed for now.
Might as well just get out of the way, even if it means I'm missing the start. Right, I'll be back soon. And yeah, hopefully this is a great, exciting start here at Monza.
Well, it sure should be. We're going to welcome Ed back in about a minute or 10. And he already mentioned it a little bit. Weather will for sure be a huge part around this race. Once again, taking a look at the drivers and race director's notes, it is a 65% chance of rain around here, with ambient temperature of about 18 degrees centigrade. So temperatures are low, and as you can see, it is already very slippery out there on track. I don't see any rain drops just yet. Well, there they are. Just the game loading them in. It is overcast and heavy rain, even with a 18-degree ambient temperature and a 20.3 degree track temperature. So rain will play a big part at the start of this race. And now qualifying seems even more important, because the further up the road you start, hopefully for you, you will be able to avoid all the carnage happening in this weather. Monza is difficult enough as it is in the opening lap, let alone in heavy rain. As you can also see at the lovely new time progress bar at the top, it will dry out eventually in this race, hopefully within about half an hour. So we will see all of these guys going on the slicks at some point, and it's going to be crucial for all these drivers to make that switch at the correct moment, of course. You don't want to be on slicks when it's raining down. You don't want to be on wet tires when it's bone dry out. So that's going to be very, very important for the strategy in this race, of course, for all of these drivers. Daniel Madsen already predicting some bowling happening in turn 1. Well, that could be very true, yeah. I wouldn't rule it out, even in the gold split. Those type of carnages happen everywhere. 38 seconds to go then until the start of the short formation lap on the run to Parabolica, and then to the start of this race. 80 minutes of racing around Autodromo di Monza here in Italy. This should be a good one. To no surprise, everyone is starting on the wets, and those who are on the mediums will probably change or remain in the pit lane for now. But all of the drivers on the grid are on the wetter tires. And we will see all of them pull away in about 5 seconds time. And getting ready for the start of this race, the 5th round of the VMS Gold Split Pro Series at the Virtual Motorsport Series. There we go then. David Niclas on pole position. 2 wins in a row already. Can he make it the 3rd one? That would be a very, very impressive drive for sure. Marco Batrami, the championship leader, no further than P5. Matteo Bassan in 2nd position. Is currently in P5 in the championship himself, so it's a bit mixed up there at the front. Don't forget about Petzin in 3rd, making that switch to the Ferrari, but getting a podium last time out in Qatar in P3. Can he make it a double then as well here at Monza? We're gonna have to wait and find out in about 80 minutes time. We're making our way to the start of this race, slowly but surely. Everyone getting ready for the start of this one, the 5th round. Oh, ever so important for this championship. Green, green, green. We are racing them at Monza. It's a good getaway for Niclas. He remains in the lead. It's not a good getaway for Petzin. He drops back so slightly on Batrami. That's now on the inside for turn 1. In the back, it's almost 4 wide then, with multiple Cadillacs going side by side into turn 1. Everyone braking and still in one piece. I think they somewhat are as a Peugeot on the gravel there. But no big incidents so far. Niclas is still in the lead then, ahead of Bassan, who is on the verge of being overtaken by Batrami, I think. But all still in one piece. So it was a good getaway then by the Ferrari driver. In the back, it's Farinelli on the outside of Lucas Cedar in the Fischer Racing Team Cadillac. And he overtakes him on the outside towards the Variante delle Roggia. Oh, on the gravel there, Petzin and the Ferrari getting it all wrong then and having to brake on the grass. Should ahead. He has to back off quite significantly then now to in order to not get any massive penalties from the game itself, but he manages to avoid everyone. He is still in P5 then. As there's another car going off then through the gravel as well. That's Materesi is still leading in LMGT3. That's multiple cars going off through the gravel there, and the Hypercar. It's an Alpine, I think, is that that's the Campo going off, and Farinelli again as well. The Campo is up in P11, I think, so he made a getaway as well. So the replay of LMG3, that's a spin for Kurjan in the backfield, ahead of, I think it's Jack Bolger in the Porsche, having to avoid all of them. Difficult to see in the spray which car is which. Oh, that's multiple drivers just going off then, all of their on their own through the just understeer really into the first Lesmo, not expecting the lack of grip there. And going off as a result of it. Oh, almost contact them with the car there. This is, I think, the Alpine of Nathan Perron coming through. And he's had a lot of luck then being avoided by the other Fischer Racing Team car. Nathan Perron still in P10 and the Alpine being hunted down over the Rezzo. Niclas is still in the lead ahead of the 3 TDM sports cars. Batrami has overtaken him even into turn 1. Has to go off the road though, so he'll have to get the place back then. Try to get the move done on the Ferrari, but he fails to do so. The 69 has to back out of it, give the place back, and he remains in P2 for now. So a lot of mistakes happening all over the place already. Drivers not anticipating the insane amount of spray and rain that's on the road here. Trying the red lines there, but that's really trying to minimize the amount of time you're spending in those puddles and trying to find the grip wherever you can. That's again Petzin going off track, I think, in the Ferrari, being overtaken now by multiple Cadillacs once again through the first Lesmo ahead of Barzang there in P6. Petzin really not happy in these slippery conditions at the start of his race. As Mardukovic has had a drive stop and go penalty, so I think that's a jump start then for him already. Let's take a quick look at LMGT3. Materesi is still in the lead ahead of Attia Panchi, so he has gone to P2 then at the start of this race, ahead of Attia De Bueno. who is still in third. Kolosov in P5 with Rapin in P4. Apologies, Rapin in P5. With Clemens Keinsel dropping back to P6 then at the start of this race. Kelsey Osborne making up some places now in P7. Luisa Rodriguez does the same in P8. Leproux in P9, Zoranovic in P10. Jos Geur and Jack Bolts are still at the back of the field together with Gurjan, who is in P13 with both Rieu and Battistella already out of this race. I'm sure if they actually took part in this race in the first place. You see the move done by Kolosov on Rapin, that is, I think. He gets passed for P4. Matthias is still leading the pack then, about a second ahead of Mattia Panchi in the Lexus driver. Of course, making the switch from the McLaren this race. So he is on 0 points total, but he's making some good use of that new car right now. That's Clemens Keinsel around the outside then of Rapin. Rapin gets it all wrong in the puddles there. Has to back out, and that's Clemens Keinsel getting past them, and Rapin on the threat of being overtaken by multiple cars. 3 wide then on the back straight with I think that's Luisa Rodriguez on the outside, and Zoranovic then also involved with Petsen going off track again in Hypercar, as you can see. Oh, he's stuck as well. Well, that's his race done, I'm afraid. Coming through the Lesmo, I think. Oh, it's a weird one. It's a big incident. He just taps the grass on the inside and spins around, and I think that's his drive shaft probably just done then. It's a weird incident. A snap on the outside, on the rear it seems, and then hitting the wall with the front axle, and that's him out of this race already. Unfortunate for him. Started so well in P3, but 0 points for him this time around. Erik Nussel still in P6 ahead of Adamu in the Peugeot. And up the road is Lucas Cedar in the Fischer Racing Team Cadillac as well, now being overtaken by Lucas Cedar on the outside. Adamu also having the run in the Toyota, but not quite there on straight line speed. No, so he just a single place lost them into Parapolica as we welcome back Ed Hunter. It's been a very quick dinner for you. It's just about 6 minutes. Very impressive.
Yeah, curry, but I wasn't trying to set a record. But when you're sort of watching the race and not joining in conversation, you do tend to look quicker. But speaking of going quickly, here comes our Fischer Racing car to the outside of Erik Nussel. Can see to get through at the Redifilio chicane. He's got the overlap. He'll have the inside for the second part on exit there. So Nussel finds himself shuffled down again as Adamu watches on with interest. Bassan and Barzenk continuing to battle for P3 up ahead as well. Looks like Barzenk has cleared him here. This is a move he made up the inside on the brakes into ring. No, actually it looked like Bassan outbraked himself there and cut the chicane, and that was all the invitation that Barzenk needed there. So excellent stuff from the Renault competition map to put him under pressure as Matrese is starting to take control in GD3, pulling a 1.5 gap to Mattia Panchi. But in all the rain chaos here, as we see all that looks like is that Jack Bolger trying to make a move. No, Bolger's a bit further back. That must be his teammate Leproux, who's just gotten up to 6th there, fighting over a pin in the sole Aston Martin. Let's see how the Aston handles in the wet weather, because we've not seen it very much this season. It looks like it's sticking with the Porsche quite closely. The Porsches, they didn't qualify particularly well, but Leproux has made a load of ground here into the top 6, Sverre.
Yeah, he sure did. We kind of missed how he did that. The spray covered up a lot of it, but he's been driving very well for now. It seems in the Peugeot. Saying that he goes off there into the Variante de la Roggia, manages to stay ahead of the Aston Martin in the back of him. But Leproux starting outside the top 10, I think was P11, but now in P6 ahead of the Aston Martin. So great drive by him. For now, as you see here, the attack for Mateusz Barzenk on Matteo Bassan for P3 then. Barzenk on the rear. Speaking of attacks, this is for the lead. That's Leszki Dushvili being overtaken by Batrami into turn 1. Batrami goes off track then. Has to back out of it in order not to go off track, but it was very close to Leszki Dushvili losing the lead. Whoa, still there!
And Bassan had a big moment after, just as he did in the previous lap, he just slid wide there after repassing Barzenk. So immediately letting him back through. And now Erik Nussel is joining the party here. So we are looking at a potentially 4 or 5-way fight for P3 here. But our two leaders about 5 seconds up the road. Nashikashvili has gotten back ahead of Beltrami, of course, because Marco tried to really brake late around the outside, and just sort of, it's very difficult to spot your braking point in the wet because it's so extended from what they were doing in qualifying, isn't it? They've got so much less grip to play with, and the moves are going to be a bit marginal and risky. You see Domino and Panchia going side by side briefly there for P2, so not sure what's happening in the podium fight in GT3, but it is allowing Matrese to continue to accelerate into the distance.
Yeah, but sure is all of this is playing in the hands of the leader of this race, Jacopo Matrese, with Punchy and Buono.
The damage on the front right there.
Yeah, it is. I think he had some contact then with, I'm not sure if it was Punchy or some other cars. I know that Buono fell back a bit in the start. So it must have been some contact with Punchy then. But he dropped back from P2 at the start of this race, but he's trying to get it back on Punchy. Both of them driving away from Kolosov, who's still in 4th position, about 2 seconds down on the lead group. So for now, it's a battle between those two guys for a 2nd position as it stands. That cannot be said for 3rd position in Hypercar. As you say, it's about a 5-6 car fight then for P3 here. As we see that it's Erik Nutzelt now on the inside of Matteo Bassan into turn 1. And on the braking, he should be able to get this on. Now it's not quite there yet, so he's still on the inside trying to get a look, but the number 16 defends it well and manages to stay ahead.
Behind is going side by side with Adamu. So Adamu was waiting in 6th, patiently waiting for the fight in front of him to resolve one way or the other, and he's seen Lucas Zida just go right up the inside of him into that first chicane. So the Toyota, playing it safe, has cost him a bit there.
I mean, playing it safe is really the only thing you can do in these conditions. It's so tricky out there. There's a replay of Alfons Vellen then. Crashing hard out of Ascari. And the Ferrari spins around, and that's his race done as well, unfortunately. That car's scrapping, so I think he returned to the pit lane, getting it all wrong on the exit of Ascari, and it's, well, that sure gets you dizzy being in that car. So that's his race done, unfortunately. Enough, I think. He's still driving.
Might still be going. But yeah, that's certainly after the glory in the 963, as he deliberately decides to terminate his race there in quite a brutal fashion. But yeah, that's such a shame for Velen. After his brilliant performance at Qatar, he gambled on the Ferrari, and in the rain, he's not been able to make it work, sadly. So those amazing, was it 6 points that he would have gone from Qatar?
I think so, yeah.
He doesn't get to keep, sadly. So he's back on 0 points, and he's not really made the best of it. To be fair, he's not the only 499P that's gotten it wrong. Pezin was really struggling to get it slowed down on the brakes, wasn't he? Into the 2nd chicane, and he had that massive crash at Curva Grande, didn't he? So yeah, definitely looks like our Ferrari converts are not finding it the dream boat that they hoped it would be. Manakurva, though, still going in P14. Nashikashvili, of course, still leading by 6/10 of a second. But Beltrami keeps closing back in that gap. The Cadillacs, I'm surprised at how strong they're looking in the rain, because I thought the World Endurance cars would be the hypercars would be the stronger ones. But yeah, it looks like our American Le Mans ones, the Cadillacs, have been not too bad either, as we see Barzenk, Beltrami, Barzenk, Bassan, Notesold all in a line together with Adamu starting to lose touch about a second behind. Having got back past Cedar, I should have noticed that.
Yeah, and that whole group is also just falling back from the lead too, really. It's about 7 seconds already down on Beltrami and Nashikashvili. So both of them kind of just flying away in these opening stages, just 13 minutes in this race, about lap 5 or 6, and the lead 2 drivers are just finding a lot more pace in the car compared to the rest of the field. So this really is a battle for P3 now, well and truly, for between all those drivers. As they're all just kind of trying to settle in for a rhythm in this race. There is there we go. That's an overtake on teammates. It's Jack Bolzer up the road ahead of Kelsey Osborne then for both the DCS racing teams, and Jack Bolzer qualifying outside the top 10 as well as Kelsey Osborne. They'll be hoping to bring home some points in this race. Also something that's just noticing here is that for some drivers, the windscreen wipers are no longer necessary. So that might be a sign that other than the spray, it is drying up ever so slightly, question mark, or at least not any more rain coming down at this point. There we go. It is overcast now, so the rain has stopped. It's just the water on track now and the spray that you're having to deal with, not any more rain that's falling down. So we will see the lap times dropping down quite rapidly, I would assume, over the next 20 minutes or so. And after that, it should be time for slicks at some point in this race.
Oh, way too deep. He just set the fastest lap of the race, slightly outbraked himself into that first chicane, and that's going to have to let Adamu through. Nathan Perron is not far behind either, so he is very much on the fight. He may even get up the inside into Curva Grande. Lucas Cedar desperately trying to get back up to speed, but it's no good. The Alpine is through. So after that big crash in qualifying, Nathan Perron now finds himself in P7 and right in the back of this podium duel. Oh, but not for much longer.
It's a great drive so far for Nathan Perron. It is now in P8 then after that. And you can see how slippery these conditions are all the way through Parabolica and Curva Grande. You can see the cars just twitching around, trying to find all the grip they can, especially on the rear. It's so easy to lose the rear in these cars in these conditions. So it's very, very difficult out there to even keep your car on track in one piece. So it's a great job that all of these guys are doing still on the road. I'm surprised, to be honest, with the lack of DNS that we've had so far in this race. This will for sure be the ever always famous commentator's curse that they've just pulled. But so far, it is still over 15 Hypercar drivers running and 13 LMGT3 drivers all in one piece. So great stuff by all of those guys. Meanwhile, these two Shadow 1 esports cars are also going at it. Just Gurin behind Evan Leproux for P8 and about 2 seconds and a half behind Zoranovic for P7. So the Porsche is coming back to life ever so slightly throughout this race. After
I'll
those,
tell you who's also going back to life, Repin in the Aston Martin.
It is, yeah.
GD3. He's right behind our championship leader, Clemens Keinzel, in the fight for P5.
Keinzel just dropped back throughout this race, really. He qualified quite well, but is down P5 and dropping back compared to Kolosov.
It was all that melee at the start, and I think he really lost out in it.
Yeah, I think so too, but it's usually he comes to life, especially in the race. Like qualifying isn't necessarily his strong suit, but in the race he really shines, but this time around not so much. So maybe when the dry conditions arrive, he is able to make up some ground then. After all this, we are on board then with Rapin looking at the nose of Zoranovic then.
My goodness, Beltrami very close to Nashkashvili. Sorry to interrupt you there, but the gap has gone from a second back to down to just 3/10. That's as they're lapping the traffic. Beltrami senses his opportunity here, so this is so careful. Our two championship protagonists going wheel to wheel then as they go on the long run. Either side of the Lamborghini, they're going to go around the outside of the Aston, and Nashkashvili just covers off the inside before Beltrami can even think about doing something there. They've got to clear Keinzel, who's now just ahead of him, teammate, sister car, of course, to Nashkashvili, so he'll want to get well out the way, but it's given an opportunity to Marco Beltrami. Beltrami's in the lead, a little lift for the 499P, and that was all it took for Beltrami to launch himself back into the controlling lead of this race.
Yeah, you would expect these drivers to take a little bit less risk in these opening stages, but nothing else. That's nothing else but true. It's crazy how these guys are driving in these slippery conditions. I talked with briefly Adamu, who is out of this race as well after a crash after Ascari.
I don't think it was Adamu. I think it was the other Toyota, because Adamu's still going P8.
It was, yeah. Apologies. So Adamu is still in this race, but it was a
lag moment. Okay,
lag moment. There we go.
He was fine. It just looked a bit like he dropped it and it was stationary, but that was just the game playing tricks on us. As we see Nashkashvili now, having lost the lead, is very, very keen to get it back, but this time the traffic a bit more spread apart in the podium positions. There you see Di Buono, Panchi, just 8/10 apart from one another, and there Matrese, nearly 4 seconds to the good now. And Jakob Matrese doing what we've seen him do consistently is, Nashkashvili climbing the curbs at the Della Roggia chicane. You can tell Nashkashvili not happy about losing the lead in that way, and he's ever so slightly just starting to look a little bit less composed. Can he get his composure back together in time? As we see, a move going on there is that I think Bassan trying to clear the traffic up the inside into Lesmo 1 there, and not so lucky for Cedar there.
Yeah, the Cedar is actually ahead of this group. I think it's Nutsold there on the inside of those GT3 drivers who really lost out then compared to the Cadillacs ahead. But they're being overtaken by Nathan Perron and the Alpine on the outside now into Ascari. Not usually a place you want to make a move, and he backs out of it for now as they are overtaking championship leader Clemens Keinsel there in P5. Oh, it was a big slide for the Cadillac up the road. Almost losing it through Ascari. Oh, almost making contact as well. So they're being held up by the Ferrari GT3. And it's 3 wide now. Nathan Perron in the middle of the Toyota in the background of Adamu. And that's seated out the road. Nutsold now being held up again by one of the Hurricanes there in LMGT3. I think it's Kolosov then. The three of them make their way through into Parabolica, somehow managing to avoid all the contact with the NM23 field, but it's really close stuff there, and Adamu kind of just biding his time in order for these guys up the road to make a mistake and try and move himself up a couple of places. And there's Nathan Perron going down the inside, I think. Just about to see a replay then. I think.
Yeah, look at this. So this is almost a rerun of Beltrami Nashvili. In fact, it is exactly a rerun. It is, what we are seeing right now. But what I was going to say was that Perron Nutsold fight, you saw Perron was in Beltrami's position, but he wasn't quite able to take advantage of it because he was going for it a little bit too early, and that's why he's still stuck behind, whereas Beltrami is now 1.2 seconds up the road from Nashvili then. So Beltrami was threatening to do that for a while, but finally got given the opportunity there. So could be nip and tuck between the two, especially if it dries out. I'll be fascinated to see if Nashvili can regain some of that qualifying form and get back past Beltrami.
Well, it's already a second and a half between the two. So right now, Beltrami seems to be the quicker driver of the two. But like you said, I think especially in the dry, Nashvili has been very impressive throughout the season. So I wouldn't put it past him to show a lot more speed in those dry conditions and bring the fight back to Beltrami for the lead of this race. He's still extending the lead to Mateusz Barzank, as you can see here on screen. He's trying on the first being overtaken by Matteo Bassan for third position. Both of these are about 9 seconds behind the lead too. This Barzank then on the inside trying to defend on Bassan, and he manages to hold him off for now. And very it's always so slippery, and it's tricky to see all the lines that they're taking, especially through Parabolica, where you can take multiple lines, especially in the wet, and so trying to avoid hitting one another on the rear. Then it's for sure a good run for Matteo Bassan. Tries to get a look on the inside, backs out for now. But I think it will only be a matter of time before Mateusz Barzank gets overtaken by the number 16.
Yeah. Bassan, as you say, doing the sort of ring of death at Parabolica to try and get through onto the podium that he lost early doors. He's certainly got the braking for the chicanes under control now, which is a good sign. But yeah, Barzank, of course, on his own, is creating a bit of a hole in the air that but they can slipstream each other, and then sure enough, through into Della Roggia goes Matteo Bassan. So Barzank caught a little bit unawares there, and here's a replay of what just happened. As I said, great whole slipstream being used by Matteo Bassan. Pulls to the inside. Barzank can't really respond at this point. Tries to turn it from the outside, but yeah, the opposing number 16 Cadillac is already through. And we now got two 10 Esports cars on the podium.
Yeah, just a very nice move indeed by Matteo Bassan, who is already putting a bit of a gap, about a second now, between him and Barzank. And as you said, two Tatum Esports cars on the podium right now. But again, their biggest rival throughout this season so far, and that's actually the Fischer Racing Esports team, Ferrari, is still splitting those two right now there. So I'm sure they'll kind of hoping to be able to make it a three-Tatum podium to come the end of this, but they'll have to beat a very high-performing driver to make that happen, that's for sure. But Remy putting in a fastest lap again then in that Cadillac, so he's really pulling away now, 1.6 seconds already, and I think the clear air really has proven. Saying that, I think he made a mistake in turn 1, question mark. I think he did. It's about a second. It might just be the gap fluctuating a bit as the braking zones happen. Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
there's such a stark difference between someone gaining on the straight, hasn't started braking yet, and someone who's going through the chicane essentially.
Yeah, so I got a bit caught out there, but it's still about a second and a half with the braking zones, of course, happening across the circuit. So we'll keep that in our minds, and try and see if that gap extends or closes down any bit at all come the rest of this race. But it's all cooling down just a little bit for now, as we are slowly making our way, ever slowly but surely making our way to a potential dry period of this race. Now the question mark is that kind of be coming in before all of these cars are running out of virtual energy, or after? Because if the dry period happens after, then all of these guys have to make yet another pit stop after the mandatory pit stop in this race. So that will be something that all these guys will have to look out for and potentially account for in their strategy as well. So we'll see how all of that plans out. There's still 56 minutes left to go in this race, and there should be plenty of action yet to come, but it's all starting to settle down ever so slightly.
There's Mohamed Kolman still going, which is good to see, because we've not seen a whole lot of him in the Ferrari in the races so far. So let's hope at least he can get to the end of this one and maybe show a bit of pace now. He's got some clear air around him. 7 seconds to Fidele, who's the next one up the road, as Beltrami sets another fastest lap, pulls 2 seconds clear of Nashvili there. So important for the championship leader to sort of regain control here, because Nashvili is going to be an ever-present threat, not just for the rest of this race, but potentially the championship as well. As we now see Lucas Cedar in the Fisher Racing Esports Cadillac closing on Barzeng. Barzeng, having just been passed by Bassan, is now about to see another Cadillac challenge him and potentially drop him out of 4th place as well. Great exit from Cedar, who's been gaining places as his race has gone on. He cuts to the outside, so looks like Barzeng is going to force him the long way round, and indeed breaks very late into De La Roggia. Nutzeltum steaming in, trying to almost go in the middle there into ever decreasing gap, and then backs out. So Lucas Cedar stays where he is, but Notzold, as tends to be the case, if you look at that Pulse Racing car, the front of that nose is completely black from damage on Eric's car here.
He's been in a fair share of incidents already this race, that's for sure, as you can see.
He's not shy of bravely diving late on the brakes, is he?
He really isn't, no. He for sure is one of those drivers who is just willing to go to pull a dive bomb and see what happens, see if it sticks. But for now, he's being patient and staying behind the 2 Cadillacs of Barzeng and Lucas Cedar. But I think Barzeng dropped back about 2 seconds already compared to Matteo Bassan, so I think it will only be a matter of time before he gets overtaken by both Lucas Cedar and Nutzel. Peter Pavron in P7 has dropped back quite a bit, also about 2 seconds, so that Alpine just not able to keep the pace of the Cadillacs up front. Same goes for the Toyota of Francesco Damu, who on his part is also 2.5 seconds behind the Alpine. He is still ahead of both the Peugeots though, so the Toyota really not being the strongest car in this series so far, but he's still in the top 10. As you see, that's Lucas Cedar now on the outside for turn 1. Amadeus Barzeng on the braking, and I think it gets it done. Losing the rear, almost both him and Barzeng. But he made the corner, made it stick, and it's up to P4. So a very nice move indeed by the Fisher Racing team, the esports team, and moves himself up ahead of Matthias Barzeng.
Look at Barzeng and Cedar were driving into each other
yeah,
on the run just towards the braking zone at Redifilia there. But yeah, the interesting question that I have now, as we see now Cedar hoping to set off after Bassan for that final spot on the podium, is who is going to be trying to save tyres in these conditions? Because I remember the very first season of VMS in the what was the contender split and is now of course the gold split. We had a wet race at Monza, and it's about an hour long. Started off wet and dried out as it went on, and there are a couple of drivers in GT3 that did try to stay out and skip the pit stop basically and try to go on the end on their same set of wet tyres, and they were just overheating and they were sitting ducks at the end. Essentially, it was not the right call. So I wonder if there's some that might fancy doing that and staying out in the wet and not bothering to ginterize if it doesn't dry up quickly enough, because it's a dynamic track. Obviously, the more laps they do, the less moisture being put on the track, the more likely it will dry up. And you can see the rooster tails on these GT3s nowhere near as big as they were in the opening laps then, and the dry line ever so slightly starting to emerge. But will it come, as you say, at the right time strategically, or will they have to compromise their strategy, make a quick splash and dash for those wet tyres without being able to really do the top up and virtual energy they really want?
Well, we've seen the same thing in the opening round of this season as well, and the gold split with Silverstone, where we had basically the same conditions happening at the endurance round, and we saw multiple GT3 drivers going for the gamble, and at the end it didn't really pay off for them. They didn't lose all that much, at least some of them, but some of them it didn't really work. It was, I think it was back then at least, the smarter move to at least go for the slicks when the time was right. And looking at the virtual energy now, at least for these two guys, are both on 47 and 48, yeah, both on 47% now. I think looking at the current conditions, there is still some spray here and there, but still half of the virtual energy tank left for at least the hypercars. I think the track will dry up just enough for them to go to the slicks instantly if the rain doesn't come anymore within the next 15 minutes or so. So I think they won't have to make a splash and dash, but it's still, like I said, it's a dynamic track, dynamic weather. Anything can happen, anything will happen. So we'll have to find out eventually. But I think right now it's looking good for all of these drivers to just make the one and only stop.
That no-soul going around the outside of Barzenk into Ascari there. Well, another
I think it was, yeah,
bold move from the Dutchman. Here we go. This is a replay of Bassan getting through. Yep, so
yep,
that was the move we saw earlier. This is now we're seeing it a third time, just to the inside, and yeah, Barzik making the corner, letting the brakes. And here is Eric Noetzold, who gets the run coming out of Lesmo 2. Under the bridge they go, side by side, and I think he just sort of plays a bit of a game of chicken and forces Barzink to back out on the entry to Ascari. There we go, just enough space for him to complete that one. So that required some cooperation, and now we see our championship leader, it looks like Zoranovic has picked him up here. So Clemens Keitel falls to P6 here. So Strahinja Zoranovic, who was so strong in Sebring, now is starting to put a real challenge in that pink Lamborghini.
Yeah, finally, really. I think both him and pretty much all the other Lamborghini Hurricanes have really struggled in the race to keep the tires where they need to be. And right now, it really is working in his favor. Given the cold track conditions, I think the Lamborghini is just able to get those temperatures a bit higher there, up on the tires. So in these colder conditions, it might work very well for them. And as you can see, 3 Lamborghinis in the top 5. I think that's just a really, really quick car in these colder conditions, which is a good thing to see. As they're this time around, they're not really falling back at all throughout at least the first 30 minutes of this race. So we'll have to see if that sticks around with the drier conditions coming up shortly. But it is a good sign then, at least for some of these, that they're finally able to keep the race pace the same as their qualifying pace that we've seen in this season. Also, I do think Erik Nutzold is a German, but I might be wrong about that.
He might be, yeah.
I do know that Germans do not like to be called judge, so...
That's true. I've made that mistake to my cost a couple of times. I will very quickly check the lineups.
Yeah, I cannot find him in the lineup, so I'm not
well, that probably doesn't help, does it?
Yeah. I was already looking, but I'm pretty sure he's German, but I might be wrong about that.
Okay, well, if he isn't, then I look smart. In fact, he's just set the fastest lap, speaking of Erik Noetzold, as he's chasing down Cedar. So Barzenk has really been the cork in the bottle. And I wonder maybe if Mateusz Barzenk maybe compromised the setup a bit, anticipating some rain, or he's just burned up his tyres in this first stint then, because he's really starting to struggle, and he's now got Perron all over the back of him, whereas Noetzold and Cedar are starting to pull away. Here comes Nathan Perron in the Alpine. Adamu's dropped well back. I think Adamu may be trying to save a lot of virtual energy at this part of the race in preparation for later on. Or maybe he thinks it's not going to dry up that quickly and he just wants to save as much as possible. But yeah, nobody really wants to be the first to blink in terms of pitting. I think if anybody's going to gamble on dries first, it might be one of our GD3s. Potentially someone with least to lose, or it might even be our leaders, of course, because they're going to sort of... It's Matrese that's going to have first call, isn't it? So he might want to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think right now it's still way too slippery to even think about the slick tires. So I don't think we'll be seeing pit stops within the next 15 to 20 minutes. But once it's there, then, well, like I said, it's really who's going to take the first gamble. if I have to guess, I think it will be a number of drivers in the GT3 field, as you said, a bit further down, like Jules Gure and Luis Rodriguez, who have shown a bit of pace here and there, but are just not able to get any moves done. Who might be going for a gamble then. And speaking of moves, this is again Erik Knudsen now on the inside of Lucas Cedar, 3 wide on the back straight, overtaking Tech Bolter there in the GT3 car. On the inside still into turn 1, making through at him with the McLaren there, almost making contact on the doors, still on the inside. Erik Knudsen in the Cadillac, doesn't back out, and tries to hang on around the outside now of the 98, gets it done, stays there, surprisingly gets a better exit as well, and gets the move done on the Fisher Racing Team Esports car. The 98 of Lucas Cedar gets overtaken. Erik Knudsen moves himself up into P4. It's a great move into turn 1. Now Lucas Cedar goes back at him in the first chicane, but he backs out for now, so he remains in P5. But it's a great little battle going on here for P4 in the race.
Here we go. So this is a replay of what's also been happening just behind. There is Nathan Perron diving up the inside and making contact with Barzenk and spinning Mateusz Barzenk around. So Barzenk, who was second in the championship in the early races of this season, he has not really had things his own way, and the telltale damage marks on the front of that Cadillac really tell the story, don't they? As Barzenk re-emerges in P7 now. Now he's got Adamu not far behind him. Whoa! Who's that spinning? Was that Bassan, I think, in issues? It was,
yeah.
There we go. That was a lucky guess, but if I take him cards, he just completely dropped it while trying to lap on the GT3s for Ascari, and he's come out behind Adamu.
Yeah, P8 now. So let's see, replay that into Ascari, and just losing the rear. Luckily, there's no barrier there, so he stays out of trouble in terms of damage. But losing a heap of time then into
Saranovic, he was lapping.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, one of the Lamborghinis.
He's trying to fight with Kolosov, and lucky he didn't take out Kolosov as well while losing control there. So because he had to go offline, that was why he lost control.
Yeah, it's a very strange incident. It's just instantly locked up there, the rear. So losing a lot of time. He is now in P8, as you said, behind Francisco Adamu. In the Toyota, so not really sure what happened there, but I think it's just offline, as you said, and locking the rears instantly. It's a very strange incident then.
Notes on
out of trouble.
Very crucially, and he's got lots of clear air in front of him. 11 seconds to Nashkadashvili, as here comes Zoranovic. Now he's got Kolosov to himself, then up the inside into Del Roggia chicane, and it looks like Kolosov with a bit of damage on the front lets the fellow Lamborghini through into 4th position then, as through comes Barzenk trying to recover ground. He's already picked off Adamu then, who is very much on a play it cool strategy here, and that's if anything, Matteo Bassan now is catching back up to him as well. So all of our front runners are starting to trip over things in the ring.
That's what you love to see, isn't it? With these conditions, it's very cool to see these cars driving around in the series behind one another at high speeds. But making mistakes is always part of the fun. As you see, Adamu again, speaking of an internet struggling there, I think for the Toyota, as he's moving all over the place. But he is still on the road, as you can see. He is still ahead of Matteo Bassan. The visual energy is roughly the same. It's about 4% difference. So he's not saving all that much compared to the other cars. I think the Toyota is just not that quick of a car, unfortunately, for him. And he's just kind of struggling to stay in the top 10 or top 8 as it stands. So I think he is trying his best, seeing the virtual energy that he has, but he's just not able to get move any more further. Oh, the big twist for the Shadow on Esports Porsche there. That's Guerin, I think. Yeah, trying to get a move for P8, but almost losing it while doing so.
Guerin is a frustrating situation of he was fighting with his teammate Lepru, and now Lepru has got through in the Aston, and he is struggling to do the same there. And you can see Rapin is constantly moving back to the racing line really late in a couple of instances as well. So the Aston Martin make itself as unpredictable as possible, which makes Guerin's task a little trickier. It's interesting that Beltrami has been kind of pulling away from Nashkadashvili. He's 8 seconds ahead now, and meanwhile the lead fight in GT3, it's been kind of nip and tuck between Panchi and Matrese, all trading fastest laps with one another. So I think Fidele may be out of the race here in the Cadillac.
Yeah, coming through Ascari again over the curb, and that's a big incident, and he does find a barrier, unfortunately for him, at the rear as well, I think. Yep. So that's a lot of damage then for the 97 Cadillac. And he's at least in the pit lane, but he might be out of the race as well. This is Nutsold going off track into turn 1. Having to lift off massively.
There,
yeah, lift off massively to not gain a track limit, which allows Lucas Cedar to get past. Yeah. So Lucas Cedar once again up into 3rd position now. This is with Bassan away there after that earlier spin. It's now 2-3 for the Fisher Racing Team, esports team, but not for any time longer. I think.
Yeah, Nutsold has definitely got the pace to get through here. Pulls to the outside. Lucas Cedar has only scored once this season with his 3rd place at Sebring. So keen to add another podium to Fisher Racing Esports collection as they both squirm on the brakes. The rear tyres still finding moisture underneath them here in some of these braking zones here. So it is not quite dry tyre time yet, although we cut to Mohamed Colombo, who I think is still on the wets, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there he is. Just the rear lets go for Lesmo 1, and he finds himself making a few sandcastles.
Yeah, always a fun thing to do, making some sandcastles. As we see, this is a replay of Niclas, which might explain why he is so many seconds behind the leader right now.
Oh, has he had a bit of a connection drop?
Oh, yes, yeah.
That's a bit concerning. And just about kept on track when he reappeared as well.
Yeah, so I think he is struggling a little bit there, at least with the connection. He's dropped back quite some while back now again. He was 2 seconds behind.
Yeah, he was I think before that about 6 or 7 seconds behind, and now he's lost 2 seconds, as you say. As Colombo is coming into the pits, I wonder if Mohamed has maybe got half a mind to roll the dice here with 40 minutes left to go. That he could probably get to the end from here. And the mediums are going on that car. Yeah. So everybody's going to be looking at Colombo's sector times here on his outlap to decide whether they should do the same.
Well, I think it's going to be difficult enough to stay on track with the slicks in these conditions. I think it's still very cold out on track, so it's going to be difficult enough to keep it on the road as it is. It's already difficult.
Well, then there's more sandcastles that can be made. At least it'll be dry.
That's very true. That's very true.
You don't want to go to the beach in the rain.
No, beaches in the rain. That's not ideal. But now I want to build sandcastles. Damn.
Right. It's not even summer holidays, so I'm not torturing people with this.
I mean, it's been a lovely weather around here, but it's not warm enough to go to the beach and build sandcastles, unfortunately.
There's Colombo.
Colombo out of the pit lane, indeed. So very easy into turn 1.
Yeah, drops behind Fidele and Martikovic, who you saw serve that drive for early on, and through goes the Peugeot as well, who I think's a lap down on them, or a lap ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I think he's just been lapped by a number of cars then, because he's well over 70 or 80 seconds behind. Yeah. I think it is. Yeah.
It's the Campo's livery, because it's the plain one. The Rezo's got the black and yellow, as we see. Oh,
yeah.
There was just no grip when he was trying to make the De La Roggia chicane there, so unfortunately he has to cut it there. Farinelli is coming in as well, as we watch Nutsold continuing to duel away with Lucas Cedar. They're not really catching Nashikashvili. They're 12 seconds behind, and Nashikashvili is now nearly 10 seconds behind Beltrami, the race leader. So really, Beltrami, the thing that we're going through his mind is do not speed in the pits, because that is what cost him in Qatar, as we know, as he sets another fastest lap. Seems to be going purple every lap now as the track conditions improve by the second. And now Nutsold is going to be right behind Cedar as he tries to steal back that 3rd position. Cedar sticks the outside. Oh, and it looks like Robin Dichon has spun coming out of Ascari, but our 3rd place battle still side by side on the run into the Redifilio chicane. Can Cedar break late around the outside, but it's going to be Nutsold. Oh, tries to shut the door from the inside, and indeed Cedar pushing from the outside. There's still more contact on exit. Lucas Cedar is marginally ahead, but it'll be Nutsold that has the shorter line, and we'll have the inside for Curva Grande, trying to push Lucas Cedar onto the wet part of the track and succeeding in doing so. So I think Nutsold should be able to muscle his way ahead here, unless Cedar is very late on the brakes. He is very late on the brakes. Can he make the corner? He bumps over the curb. He cannot make the corner, and he's going to have to let Nutsold back through.
Oh, way too risky there to move it down the inside for Lucas Cedar. He tried his best, but he wasn't able to do so. Unfortunately for him, it's a replay then of both the Peugeots for
This
P8
is how Robin
then.
had his spin then.
Yeah,
Making the move onto Rezzo.
Deschon on the inside. Into
Got the
Ascari.
contact here, surely. Yeah.
Yeah, tap on the rear.
Oh. And a bit of a hit there, I think. The Peugeot looked like he's heading towards the wall there.
I think seeing another replay of it, I think he did hit the wall there and made his way to the pit lane to at least repair the damage. And might
so
be on
marginal
slicks as well.
That's the thing. He nearly made it through onto Rezzo there, but Rezzo
He's on slicks.
Well, you may as well then after that.
And Bassanas as well, I think.
Yeah, so lots of drivers have had issues in the race, deciding to roll the dice. I don't think the sectors of Colombo have looked particularly great, but maybe somebody else with a little more confidence underneath them might be able to get the tyres to work a bit sooner. But of course, that's the problem with changing tyres. You've got that warm-up period, which is so hard to do in dry tyres on a drying track at this point when you're the guinea pig, essentially. As we see Cedar under attack. That's the lap 777 of Farinelli that they're just making it through. And not far behind as well is Nathan Perron, too.
And Nathan Perron has closed the gap quite a bit to these two. So he is suddenly in P5 after a number of pit stops and crashes happened in front of him. So he is looking at this battle rather enthusiastically, I would imagine. Has to back out for now. Erik Nusselt is seeing a bit of traffic up the road. There he is. One of the Peugeots.
Getting out of the way of his teammate.
Yeah, he is on those slicks, the slick tire, so he'll be trying to get out of the way as soon as he can. And Lucas Cedar is able to defend him off just for a little bit now. And looking at the virtual energy, I think we'll see a number of drivers coming in shortly as well. And it might be exactly on that crossover period where it's still a little bit too tricky to be on slicks compared to the wets. But now into Ascari again, that's Nutselt on the outside. Does it go remove? Backs out loses the rear almost into Ascari again. But backs out for now, and Lucas Cedar remains in third position. But I think Nutselt has shown a lot more pace in these conditions and should be able to get the move done shortly. Seeing replay then of this is the Bueno up the road on Zoranovic. And I think Zoranovic will get the move done into turn 1. Gets on the inside and should be able to get it done on the braking nice and tidy. There we go, even before the start of the braking zone. Which puts the Bueno up down into 4th position then.
Zoranovic is absolutely flying out there in duty-free, it must be said. From where he qualified, he's gained loads of places past Keinzel, past Kolosov, past the Bueno, and he's about 11 seconds behind Panchi, who is keeping Matrese just about within touching distance, 4 seconds ahead of him. So there's every chance this final half hour could be a freeway fight for victory between Matrese, Panchi, and Zoranovic. But our championship leader, Clemens Keinzel, he's still behind Kolosov, so this is not looking like it's going to be a fantastic day for him.
Now, I was just looking at the results of him. Of course, he did win Clemens Keinzel in Silverstone, and then 2 second places.
Oh, Notzel cuts the track at De La Roggia. Oh. Sorry to interrupt you, Stevie, but yeah, there it looked like so Cedar and Notzel still battling. Notzel makes another attempt to get through as they exit Curva Grande towards De La Roggia. Yeah, he gets a monster run, switches to the inside, and he's just gone way too late on the brakes. Yeah, indeed he has. So there we go, Cedar able to get back through. And I think, is this live? They're still side by side, and Nutzel going for his favorite move around the outside of Ascari again. And Cedar is able to see it coming now, but our leaders in Hypercar are getting very low on virtual energy now. So next couple of laps, they're going to have to pit, whether it's dry tire territory or not.
Yeah, I think this... I'm honestly surprised that no one has had any big offs in Hypercar on slicks. Panchi is indeed the first of the GT3 drivers to make the switch to the medium tires, as you can see in the graphic. And we'll see if that's a bit too early for the GT3 field as well. But we'll find out in a few moments' time. Nutselt once again lining up a move on Lucas Cedar into turn 1. Gets a good run out of Parabolica. Cedar goes defensive, forces him on the outside then into turn 1. Can he make it stick to 53? I think he has to back out at least. Lucas goes very, very deep for Lucas Cedar. and has to back off then on the exit, which allows Nutsel through finally. And I think that pretty much seals the fate for Lucas Cedar. Gets overtaken by Perron as well. There we go, and the Alpine gets through as well, with Cedar now back in P5 after that. A big mistake into turn 1, loses 2 places in a single corner. He won't be too happy about that. He'll be screaming in that cockpit, and well, all to play for still, and there's a lot of work to do again after that mistake. He won't be too happy with that.
Yeah, I think for Lucas Cedar, as I said, his only finish so far this season was the third. As you see the wheel from earlier, that was rather forlornly looking. Yeah, Peasant decided he was a bit done with this race, I think. Was it Peasant or was it someone else? Was it Velin? I think they did it. Yeah, it was Velin, wasn't it? Alphonse Velin that crashed his brand new Ferrari there. As we now see Panchi, who has switched to the mediums. Kelsey Osborne, I think, is also doing the same. Mohamed Colombo is going back into the pits, so I believe he might have had some sort of incident out there, being the first to switch to the dries. Well, it was worth in the gamble, was it? Is Colombo putting on a fresh set of mediums, because they're probably... it's probably worth it, especially if he's damaged the car during some adventure out here. Here we go. Looks like it's very low to the ground, bumping and oscillating a lot through Curva Grande. Into Della Roggia. Mo, has a very bizarre looking issue. Reappears going over the bumps. So maybe he's also having connection issues as well. So yeah, it's not been Mohamed Colombo's day, season or year, has it? So as we now see Marco Beltrami. Now, interestingly, Nashvili did steal the fastest lap back off of Beltrami, but unfortunately that was a bit of a blip from Beltrami's end rather than a trend. As you see, just trying to go way too deep into Della Roggia is Nashvili, and the gap is going to stay at 13.5 seconds or so.
Well, interestingly enough, you could see the last lap difference between both Nashvili and Nutsel. Nutsel was about 1.5 seconds quicker than Nashvili, so I think David Nashvili is really just struggling in these conditions. The switchover period where it's not wet enough for wets and not dry enough for slicks. It's going to be very interesting to see if he's able to close the gap again to Beltrami in the final 30 minutes when he is on slicks, or if he has to defend from Erik Nutsel, who's shown some great pace in these later stages of this race. See more GT3 drivers coming in for their pit stop.
Yeah, other thing that's happened in GT3 , by the way, is Julian Gurin has gotten ahead of Clemens Keinzel. So our championship loses another place to one of his championship rivals, the man 4th in the standings. There we go, mistake. Keinzel hits the gravel. Perron and DeRezzo go through, I think, there.
That is a big mistake. And Gurin almost collects him on the rear, as that is indeed Perron. And makes it. That's a very nice move on the inside. Makes use of the hypercars coming through, which forced the Ferrari a bit wide then into the first Lesmo, and he just made it work as well.
GT3, Matrese goes for the pits. Well, he saw that Panchi had dived in, and he doesn't want to get undercut here, as in also comes, that must be Zoranovic.
Yeah.
Also, now there's going to be a flood of cars. Barzenk comes in. Pretty much all of our GT3s are in as well.
Yeah, this is really the moment where most of our drivers will be coming in for their scheduled pit stops. That is Zoranovic and Clemens Keinzel in there in the Ferrari number 5 or 5th place Ferrari. We saw multiple hypercars coming in. That's Barzank in the back of this view. And Matrese gets away first though, so he'll remain in the net lead of this race in LMGT3. But Bueno and Kolosov up the road are still yet to make their one-and-only pit stop. Sliding on the exit there, bit of a spray. So as you can see, there's still a lot of water on the pit exit then. So that is the tricky place to be after you've made your pit stop on those slick tires.
Zoranovic might be able to overcut Panchi here. He's so deep into the first corner. There's yellow flag in the middle sector somewhere out there. Panchi's coming through now. I think he's going to be behind Zoranovic. So Stranger Zoranovic, by having a shorter stop, has gotten out ahead of the Lexus and into net second place, but he's got to warm up these tires. They're misbehaving, and surely the Lexus is going to come flying through on the outside into Curva Grande.
It's a good exit though for the Lamborghini, so he still has to forcing the Lexus on the outside. It is slippery there. That's the wet line. You don't want to be there when you're on the slick tire. So Panchi has to make a decision here. Is he going to back out, or is he going to make it stick? I think he is still going for a move then.
That is into him.
Oh, tries to go on the dry line, but forgets that there's a Lamborghini there. Still gets the move done, though, and he moves himself up to net P2 again. So Colombo has gone off again as well on those slicks coming through Curva Grande. But Penshi now up into a net P2 once again after a bit of a feisty move. Oh, that's a big spin then for the Ferrari. And massive contact as well. That's potentially a race-ending incident then again from Helmut Colombo. I think he's still driving, but that car is crabbing all over the place.
It's not the only one heading to the pits, though. Notesold has dived in, and so too is Nathan Perron. So that's the first of our two sort of Hypercar podium contenders that are deciding to take the put on the slicks. This is Osborne.
That's a replay.
Chased down by the 32 of Adamu. And then the 777 of Farinelli. Just getting out of everybody's way, so Kelsey Osborne doesn't look like they're doing anything particularly harmful there. There's Notesold. Now, Mardukovic pit early for the drive-through, so he hasn't changed tyres, I don't think, but Barzenk is the leader of those who have changed tyres.
I think you're right on that, yeah. We might
well, he was up until Notesold and Perron came in, and they've emerged comfortably ahead of both of them.
Yeah, you can see that everyone up till Notesold has made at least one pit stop. Perron going off track there to with his cold tires as well. That's De Bueno now behind Serranovic. Serranovic is going off track as well to turn one.
Yeah, Serranovic's really struggling to get his tires warmed up here, and that's costing him. And he's taking a bit of the bollard with him.
Taking a little souvenir away from this race. But Ram and Niclas are both in the pit lane. Yeah. Something to throw, yeah. As the two leaders in Hypercar are now in the pit lane. Lucas Cedar continues, so no, never mind. He comes in as well, as would Damu and De Campo, I think, shortly. But the three leaders, at least in Hypercar, are in this lap. And let's see if Batrami is able to keep that lead. It was about 11 seconds
Perron
before
and Notesold are battling over P6 at the moment, and they could well be very close to an exit. So I think Perron briefly got ahead and has ended up in the gravel there at Lesmo 2.
I think you might be right there. There's also a bit smaller of a gap
on the cold tires. So Notesold goes straight on at Lesmo 1. Perron thinks, oh, happy days. That's me getting a free position here. Has to go a bit offline into Lesmo 2. And then, locks up and does exactly the same thing at the following corner. So.
It's learning from one another there. That's for sure.
Or not learning from one another. Right?
Oh, not learning. Taking after one another. Does
that mean we won't be able to see Beltrami and Nashidashvili do the same things, though? I guess they're not as close to each other, but Nashidashvili might have a little bit. I guess Cedar's a bit way far back. So look how much Nashidashvili crawling around through the first couple of corners, and Lucas Cedar doing the same thing.
Well, Nashidashvili did take after the other ones like struggling into turn one, as Adamu has come out in P4, now in P5 behind Erik Notesold, but he's
Cedar has been able to build a gap to Notesold as a result of this as well. The only problem is Cedar's got to warm up the tyres, whereas Notesold has already had his trip through the gravel, so he's hoping Cedar has got one due as well.
I think it's going to be close between those two. It's about 8 seconds now. I think that will be very close. Never mind. He's going to be going off track there again in the 98. This might be very close. Once the Cedar is able to get the temperature in those tires, the gap might well have come down to about a second or even less. It's just a matter of getting that done as quickly as you can. And Notesold is well up to speed already. It's 4 seconds now, so it might not be as close as I thought it would be.
Yeah,
you can see him there up the road.
Says the fastest lap in duty free. That's the driver that, of course, was spun around on the opening lap. Still going in P11. Last of the duty free still running, and about 10 seconds behind Rodriguez. So good to see that even at in the hands of Johan Kerjin, the Mustang has got some decent pace here. As now we watch Clemens Keinzel is really in trouble here. At the moment for P7, he would only be scoring about 5 points. And Evan Leproux wants to make it, so he's only scoring 4 points. The way that Porsche is all over the back of him here. So Keinzel is in real trouble, and the only Ferrari 296 in the field here. He is the championship leader, but that lead could well be cut significantly by Matrese here. Matrese getting the full 25 points. He's, what is he, about 18 points behind. So Matrese could well be in a position to take the championship lead here if Leproux can pull this one off.
Yeah, and De Bueno is also ahead of Clemens Keinsel. De Bueno is currently in second position, a single point in front of Giacomo Teresi. So I think Clemens Keinsel is at least on the verge of being overtaken by Giacomo Teresi, who's also overtaking
I think De Bueno,
De Bueno
for fourth though would only be getting 12 points. So
yeah, so it's gonna be
and
close
he's like,
there, but it's
17 behind, isn't he? Yeah.
yeah, about so.
So he needs LeProux to get a move on, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
And LeProux actually drifts it through Parabolica, and Keinsel now getting a little bit of slipstream from LeProux's teammate, and indeed sets the fastest lap. There we go. So forget everything I was saying. Clemens Keinsel seems to be fine.
He sure does. I think the Ferrari is just not really working well in the rainy conditions, but now in the dry, he might be able to turn it up to 11 again. And,
yeah, the Porsche seemed to be really
done.
good in those sort of mixed conditions where it was transitioning. Because the Aston was really quite surprisingly solid in the rain, and then the Porsches was suddenly good when it started drying out, and now it's dried out. The Ferrari seems to be decent again. As now we look at Notzold, who's right behind Lucas Cedar. Cedar, though, has got those tyres up to temperature, but now he is in the same battle that he was before they pit, essentially, with Notzold getting over the slipstream and looking at that battered and bruised Pulse car back onto the podium.
Yeah, he sure does. Gets better exit through Parabolica. Was a bit of a slide there on the exit, but he's still having a good run on the Fischer Racing Esports team. Gets very close to the rear, moves to the outside into turn 1. This could be the move done and dusted. Still there, still side by side with the 98.
Oh.
98 locks up massively on the wet patch there. It goes straight on into turn 1. Taking some bollards with him as well, and has to back off quite significantly now, I would imagine. And as Nutsold come through for P3, and you can see how
right down to avoid getting the corner cut penalty. And just like before, Perron is going to come steaming through. It's very gratefully into P4.
It's the same thing happening once again to Lucas Cedar, who loses 2 places in one corner. To see replay of that move then by Erik Nutsold, gets to the outside, and you will see Lucas Cedar just locking up instantly. Yeah, brakes way too late for those. He brakes at the 100-meter board on a slippery patch of road. It's not really working any time of day, unfortunately, for him. So that's 2 places lost for him. Unfortunately, see replay now of Clemens Keinsel and Jules Geurin. I think, like we said, the Ferrari really coming back to life compared to the Porsches.
Isn't
might be able to.
That's the Pru's passing there, isn't it? Oh no, 23 is Geurin. So Geurin and LeProux swapped somehow. Keinsel has just stayed in the middle of them until that point. But there you go. Clemens Keinsel back into P6 then. So that's 8 points that will be coming his way. And was it 8 points for P6? I'm pretty sure.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah. So that would be just enough to keep him in the championship lead, even if Matrese was able to win this one, I believe. Getting the full 25
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that would be.
I'm not
it'd still be a greatly reduced lead, so it's not exactly a title-winning position. So Keinsel is still looking a bit vulnerable here, and he's about 5 seconds behind Kolosov in the Lamborghini, who's the next car up the road. So 90 minutes left to go. Clemens Keinsel has got quite the mountain to climb if he wants to salvage a decent result out of this one in the top 4 maybe. But meanwhile, De Bueno is right behind Zoranovic, trying to get back on the podium. And of course, Notzold. We see Nashikashvili has lost a lot of time in the pits, and Notzold is gaining on him at a rapid rate of knots here. So has Nashikashvili just taken on a lot of virtual energy, or is something else going on here? Maybe that's just the car Nashikashvili gambled on it raining and has set it up more for the rain.
Well, you can see that the last lap is 7/10 slower than his best lap, and the best lap has been set during the rainy period. So he's 3.5 seconds slower last lap than Erik Nutsold. I think it might either have been a mistake, or that Ferrari is just really struggling for one reason or another. But he's looking well on the threat by
could
by
well have
Erik
been
Nutsold.
damaged in the pits if we didn't see that. Maybe if there was contact on the duty freeze or something. But him and Beltrami sort of pit together. There didn't seem to be a whole lot else going on. As we see Beltrami just continuing to sprint away from this race. He's definitely making up for the speeding in the pits in Qatar, isn't he?
Well, let's see what happens to this lap on Nashikashvili, because he's dropping back again a bit to Nutsold.
From Nutsold.
So let's see what kind of lap time Nashikashvili is able to put on the board this time around.
Drive-through penalty for Clemens Keinsel. That's our championship leader who was looking so good. Not only has he dropped back behind Geurin, but he's been given a drive-through penalty, I assume, for corner cutting, as Nutsold now takes the
that's corner cutting.
So that's going to drop Kainz up behind Leproux. It's going to drop behind Rapin, Rodriguez as well, maybe even Kurgin too.
Yeah, he will be.
He will disastrous.
He will be P11 after that, unfortunately for him. So, yeah, gets off track.
Yeah, he didn't slow down enough.
Yeah. No, you can see accelerating already, so that's too early there. Knowing this game, have a significant amount of hours in this game as well, that's too early there, and you will get a track limit warning for that. And
Peru getting a bit of trouble from Rapin here as well. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, the Aston Martin now ahead of him. So I think Leproux must have made a mistake through one of the Lesmos there. The Aston Martin taking full advantage of that. Because they are teammates at Shadow 1, aren't they? Rapin, Leproux, and Guerin. So now they basically all got to fight for a sick position between themselves because it's 7 seconds to the next car. And Kainz due to come in. As we see, De Bueno's gotten through in Zoranovic for P3 and GD3. There they are. So the two pink Lamborghinis doing battle once more. And now Zoranovic looking to strike back in the slipstream into the Red Ophelio. But he might be a bit too far back to do a dive on the brakes here. So De Buono back in position he needs and could well now be in a position to take P2 in the stand, or to stay in P2 in the standings as Matrese sort of leapfrogs is looking set to leapfrog both him and Kainz.
Yeah, with Kainz pretty much guaranteed out of the points in this race. Unfortunately for him, he'll be severely under threat by both Bueno and Materesi. And Julien Guerin is also not too far behind him in the standings, but well, it's over a race win away. But Guerin is only in P6 now, so he'll be able to close that just a little bit, but it's nowhere near enough to overtake Clemens Kainz. So I think he'll be dropped down to P3 then in the standings as it is right now. We just saw the overtake of Nathan Perron on Lucas Cedar into turn 1 in the Alpine. So Lucas Cedar dropping back ever so slightly compared to the rest of the drivers, already well over 8 seconds behind Erik Nutsold. So not able to.
Nutsold has just taken off like a scalding cat,
it really has.
You pour water on a cat, it just takes off, and that's what. Oh, there we go. That's what's happened. As you see Farinelli and De Rezzo muscling each other out. That's Farinelli being a little bit more than forceful. So he's coming in to the outside into Red Ophelio. De Rezzo tries to duke it out late on the brakes. Oh, understeers into Farinelli. Farinelli goes over the curb and sort of just can't get out of that one without making contact with the Peugeot. I think a little messy.
I think the Peugeot kind of understeered into him, but the Cadillac also just steered in like he wasn't there, question mark. So it's a bit of a messy one. Like you said, both of them still alive out on track. We've seen another replay of the Campo trying to overtake, having to defend on Matteo Bassan in this number 16. I think they're still as they are right now. Yep, that's the Campo up the road now, being held up by Clemens Kainz.
And here we go, Matteo Bassan sees his moment, pulls to the outside, going into Parabolica, and that's back up into P8 then. So not where Bassan would have wanted to be, given he's fighting for the podium early doors after that sort of spin in the wet conditions up the inside at Ascari. But yeah, Bassan could still get some decent points out of this one, but you can sense the title bid at Tatum Esports is very much going behind Beltrami, and he's sort of, after a couple of missed opportunities this season, it's starting to go away from him somewhat.
Yeah, for sure. It's just being a bit distracted, trying to understand what is happening right in front of us. As you can see, again, last lap of the of Neskideshvili, about a second slower, or 7/10 slower than Erik Nutsold. So either Erik Nutsold has taken something that I want as well, or Neskideshvili, oh, big twitch there into the second Lesmo, losing a heap of time again. That's well of a second behind now. But Neskideshvili, not really sure what happened to his qualifying pace in this race, but it's just not there, even in the dry conditions. He's lost another 3 seconds compared to Marco Batram, so he's really not looking happy out there in the Ferrari, which is really surprising given how strong the Ferrari has been the last couple of rounds. So it's going to be a close one with only 13 minutes left to go. It's really flown by in this race.
It's going to be interesting to hear what Neskideshvili has to say after this one, if we get a chance to talk to him. But yeah, Nutsold very keen to get into P2 here as Matrese sets the fastest lap. So Jakob Matrese definitely covering off any threat from Panchi. And he knows there's a championship lead up for grabs then. He's just got to make sure he gets to the end of this one. And you can see Kainz there is about, is that 36 seconds down on the points?
It is.
So it's looking like his chances are starting to fade as we see, Who was that going over? It was Seeger.
Nashvili.
Oh no, it's Nashvili, sorry, that completely cut the chicane, and as I've rejoined right in front, he's blocking the path of Eric Nozov there. Nozov will not be happy about this one. Well, so the two Germans about to do battle into Della Roggia, and it is Nozov that's, got a car alongside. Nashvili has to turn in at some point. They're still side by side on exit. He almost feeds the Cadillac into the gravel there. Nashvili fighting tooth and nail, but he is just falling 31 seconds now behind the race lead here, and the Fischer Racing Esports Ferrari looking more vulnerable than it has in a long time.
Yeah, Eric Nuzelt all over the back of that Ferrari, and now they're coming up to his favorite part of Ascari, so he might try to go for a move there as well. As we replay of Nathan Perron and Lucas Sitter. Lucas Sitter here behind the Alpine again, tries to go for a move on the inside. I think he might just lock up and go straight on. Yep,
wow,
he does.
That wasn't even a lockup. That was just
not even a lockup, just going straight on. Yeah. So he's still in P5. Bakabatrami is setting yet another fastest lap of the race, and Nutzel is still behind Nashvili even after Ascari. Lucas Sitter being held up now by the Lamborghini Huracan of Zoranovic, and having to defend again on Nathan Perron and the Alpine behind. It's just 0.3 of a second between the two. Lucas Sitter might be held up again now here. Oh, but the Lamborghini there again, who himself now gets held up compared to Zoranovic behind. So
that was Domino then. So now Domino's got Zoranovic back within 0.7 of him, which is not.
Yeah, so as you can see, the time between those two drivers really just dropping back. It was about 0.8 of a second. It was about 0.7 as we last saw. Clemens Keinsel again. It's a replay of the Ferrari driver and to the first chicane.
Oh, okay, the front is lifting up. He's decided to do a little wheelie.
Yeah,
I mean, if things have gone as badly wrong as they have that drive through, why not?
I would do the same. Yeah.
I would break the laws of physics too. But anyway, this is Rapin making a mistake, going a bit wide, and gratefully up the inside goes Evan Lepreux. Then Evan Lepreux is through.
Yep. Nice clean move, well done indeed. Still up the road after turn 1, so he is up into P7. Both Porsches in P6 and P7 after all that, so great stuff indeed. These two found one another once again. Erik Nuzelt has closed the gap. It was about a second early on, about 0.5 of a second. It's a great run through Ascari. He might be able to get a run through Parabolica as well and go for a move into turn 1. We've seen it before that he likes to do that, get his nose down into turn 1, so he might be able to do the same on Nashvili up the road, who himself really is struggling in these conditions. It's a poor run for him already through Parabolica on the outside now, and it makes it inside for Erik Nuzelt, still behind the Ferrari driver. Tries to find some space on the road, takes a look on the inside. Does he go for a dive bomb? No, not this time around, I don't think. And has to back out a little lock up there as well for the 53. Backs out for now, but time is starting to run out ever so slightly for Erik Nuzelt. There's still 10 minutes to go, but after that 10 minutes, Nashvili will be coming home in second position as it stands. So there's still a lot of work to do for both drivers here in the closing stages of this race.
And Nashvili, despite the fact he's up against it, defending well, I think he might have a little bit of virtual energy and sort of hybrid battery to use in certain positions here down the straights, and that's what's stopping Nozelt from just using the slipstream and zooming on by him. So yeah, Nashvili, though, will know he cannot afford to tangle with Nozelt, because if he doesn't finish, then basically Beltrami, who's already 20 points ahead, could just reverse the trend and extend that gap in the championship back out again. So he's got to limit the damage, because 31 seconds up the road, unless Beltrami has something truly unfortunate happen to him, which you wouldn't wish on anybody, then Nashvili is not going to win and cut into that championship lead anymore. So he doesn't want Nozelt to get by, but with the pace that Eric's got here, this is going to be a really, really tough battle here, and Nashvili will have to have his wits about him.
Yeah, for sure. It's to finish first you have to finish, as a famous Brazilian once said. So I think it was Senna, right? Might have been someone else. Not sure. Anyway,
I think that was a Ron Dennis saying, if I remember correctly.
It was actually Ron Dennis. I know
what's his one? to finish first you must be finished, because he had Hakkinen and Raikkonen driving for him. Anyway.
Never mind. Anyway.
No fins here, so...
No fins here, no. It's but Neskadashvili, all he really has to do right now is just keep it on the road. Finishing home in third is better than not finishing at all. He is not going to win this race as it stands. He's not going to able to close the gap to P1 in the standings. So all he can do right now is minimize the damage that he is taking. If he doesn't finish here, then it will pretty much be championship done for him. And Marco Beltrami will more than likely get this championship, as he would have pulled a gap by at least 30, 40 points already.
Ooh.
So it's how difficult it is for a racer. At this point, you would have to just realize that, well, you know, I'm not gonna throw everything at this. If he gets past, then fine. I think he's gonna keep defending as it is. But if I were him, I wouldn't be throwing the kitchen sink at it. That's just not worth it at this stage of this championship.
Yeah, I might want to just slightly rephrase. I did say there are no Finns here because Alphonse Vellin, who retired earlier, is Finnish. So I think it would be remiss not to point that out. Just for the sake of accuracy. But yeah, the problem here is Eric Noetzold. I think after the retirement in Qatar, is there a drop score rule in the gold split?
Yeah, there is.
There is, okay. So that won't actually hurt him that much then. So he's still technically a threat in the championship here. So the problem is these two could end up fighting for second place rather than first, the way things are going at the moment. As here comes Noetzold, a lot closer than before, pulls to the inside, late on the brakes, locks up a little bit actually. Is he going to clatter in? No, he's not going to make that corner at all. And Nashikashvili sees that one coming, stays out of danger, and zooms back on through.
Yeah, let's see a replay then of that attempt at overtaking into turn one. Noetzold goes down the inside then of the Ferrari, and I think he just gets it all wrong on the braking. Yeah, brakes way too late. I'm kind of surprised that Neskadashvili was able to keep it on the road in the Ferrari, but I think this pretty much is it's kind of a lifeline for Neskadashvili. It's I'm saying that just a second again. But it might just be enough for Neskadashvili to stay ahead these final couple of laps. 5 minutes to go in this race, just 3 or 4 laps left for our Hypercar drivers having to defend this. And it might just be enough for Neskadashvili to bring it home in second position as it stands. Yeah. These two have been going at it all races as well. Both of these Peugeots. Yep, 18%, so it's 5% less than Robin Deschamps. So, of course, you cannot get under 0% virtual energy. You will get a stop-and-go penalty for that, a 30-second stop-and-go penalty for that, which pretty much guarantees...
It's 100 seconds if they don't...
It might be 100 even, yeah. So it's pretty much a guarantee of a DNF. Yeah, it's confirmed 100
Oh,
Matrese
trying to stay out of the Peugeot battle. That's a bit scary there. Luckily, he's got that 5.9 second buffer to Panchi, so no threat from second position. As Domino also set the fastest lap last time around. So, yeah, it is fluctuated between those three cars, isn't it? The Mustang was pretty strong in those wet conditions, and Matrese blitzed it in qualifying. Domino is really strong on the dry, and Panchi has sort of been almost as good as the Mustang and the Lexus, but sort of the best of both worlds, essentially. So not quite the jack of all trades, master of none. As we see, Keinzel sets the fastest lap, so that is at least somewhat encouraging for the championship leader, albeit he's very much on his own. 32.6. He's gained about 4 or 5 seconds on Kurgin at least.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be too happy with that. It's been a disastrous race really for Clemens Keinzel. Not really any pace to challenge for the win, and now outside of the points after the drive for penalty. So one to forget for him for sure. This is Robin Deschamps trying to get a move on Michel de Retzo into turn one. Backs out for now. This is for P11, so no points for either of these drivers, the 222 and the 20. Really been disappointed, to be honest, with the pace of
That was one of the Fisher cars in the gravel day. Oh no! Just 3 minutes from the end of the race, Nashikashvili is backwards in the wall. So what's happened here? They're coming up to lap Kurgin.
It's into Ascari, this is.
Yeah. He moves offline to the inside. Oh, and the brakes just do not grip whatsoever. And it's a huge hit. The wheel is off. Nashikashvili is out.
That is terrible news. We were just talking about it, how important it is to just finish the race. But he got too over-eager there on the inside of the Mustang. Breaks offline, loses the rear, and that's a big shunt into the wall. That's a disastrous end to this race for David Nashikashvili, who can, well, pretty much forget about the lead of the championship at this point.
Yeah. Interestingly though, as we see another replay of that. Not only is that promoted Eric Nozol to P2, it's promoted Cedar to P3, who has still got Nathan Perron all over the back of him. So can, as we see, there we go. It's so unfortunate because you could tell the brakes just did not bite when he needed them, and that's the problem with trying to turn and brake at the same time. It doesn't like it.
Yeah, that's a disastrous end for him. And well, as you said, Nutsold and Cedar both on the podium now once again, and Nathan Perron. It's been not the easiest race for Nathan, but he is, well, he
stayed
could be on for P3, staying out of trouble, and just 2/10 behind Lucas Cedar for P3. So the Alpine driver might be able to get a move done in the last, well, 2 last laps, I think, of this race, as we're pretty much nearing the end of it. And it's been a great drive by the Alpine driver, and he could see himself up into 3rd if he's able to get a move on the kind of struggling Cadillac here. But 2/10 of a lap slower last lap, Lucas Cedar is.
Bad
it's a good run there. Yeah.
Yeah, he
good
just
run.
did not get the exit from Ascari, so that puts Perron up the inside. They're similar on Virtual Energy. The Alpine is margin ahead on the outside. Cedar trying to use any little boost he can to get the inside for Parabolica, but the Alpine has got the line, is just ahead, and now the Cadillac of Cedar has got to hope he can follow the Alpine and slingshot his way back through into turn 1. He's going to try and go to the outside here, Sverre.
Yeah, down the inside he goes on with the Alpine and trying to get the move done on the Fischer Racing team on the brakes. We've seen so many braking incidents this race already. Not this time around though. It's still on the inside. Lucas Cedar in the purple Cadillac, still there. Now on the outside for Grande Curva. And Curva Grande, apologies. Get it the wrong way around.
We know which one you're talking about, don't worry.
has a better exit and moves himself in front into Della Roggia. Still on the inside though, Lucas Cedar trying to use
he's lost it!
Almost collecting the Aston Martin there. Yeah, goes off track, having to lift off
a pin as well.
Yeah, really has been lucky escape, and that means that Nathan Perron is now up into 3rd after that big mistake by Lucas Cedar, almost collecting the Aston Martin of Rapin and having to back out in order to not get a drive through himself. So let's see replay then. Lucas Cedar moves down the inside, tries to use the traffic up the road for Nathan to box Nathan Perron in pretty much, but by doing so outbrakes himself, loses the rear, and very lucky for him he doesn't.
I wonder if they're all starting to run out of brakes at the end of this one, maybe.
I don't imagine so, but as someone mentioned in chat, it's both Ferrari, Fernand, and Pease who've been struggling under braking. So it might just be a Ferrari thing going on here
as well, actually.
Yeah, that's also true. So see,
fabulous move there from Zoranovic. Just caught Kolosov completely now. Well, Kolosov on Zoranovic, sorry. So just
great move.
Strange Zoranovic was completely napping there, and Kolosov took full advantage. Really opportunistic stuff.
As the clock has come down to 0 now, so I think the leader has started his final lap of this race. This is for P6 though. Adamu in the Toyota on the inside of Bassan in the Cadillac. Bassan gets through into P6 indeed. So the Toyota really not showing any speed at all. Still there on the inside. Trying not to hit one another.
Show, aren't they?
Usually you don't want to do that with teammates, but they're keeping it clean. No team orders here for these guys.
It's almost like they're in formation. Big Italian flags on the back here at Monza.
Take the screenshots.
Yeah, it is actual racing conditions there, and I think Bassan has sealed this. He's got the inside line. Oh my goodness, late round the outside, and Adamu somehow makes the corner there. That really required a lot of compliance from Matteo Bassan, but through comes their teammate Marco Beltrami. Well, he hasn't won since Silverstone. He's about to put that right now. He crosses the line, and Marco Beltrami wins his home Grand Prix of race here at Monza. The 80 minutes of Monza goes to him in the gold split, and that is crucial right when he needed it in his championship on a day when Nashville binned it near the end of the race in a major collision. Beltrami takes absolute advantage, and he was already dominantly ahead by that point anyway. And there goes Matresi. It's a double win for Tatum Restec Esports as Notzel comes in to take 2nd in Hypercar. And it's going to be Nathan Perron that takes his first podium. You've seen him win in silver and bronze. Now he goes gold and onto the podium.
A great drive by the Alpine driver, really keeping out of trouble and bringing it home nicely in 3rd position. So It's happy Italians all around, and with Tatum Esports winning in both the Hypercar as well as the GT3 field. And I think both of the drivers are Italian as well. They sure are. So it's a quadruple Italy win, basically, at this point in this race. So I'm sure they'll be very, very happy with that indeed. Both Shadow One Esports cars come home in 5th and 6th, or 6th and 7th, apologies. And P8 as well with Red Pen. So points for them. This is the championship leader in LM GT3, or, well, I should say, according to our calculations, but of course they can be wrong, knowing us, has lost the lead in the championship. Clemens Council, he came in here on 76 points, 17 points ahead of Mete de Bueno. But Giacomo Teresi, who is just a single point behind him, has scored 25, which would seem him overtaking Clemens Council for the lead of this championship. So drama there in the LMGT3 field, but a very, very exciting race coming to close there with two well-deserved winners and great entertaining action all over the place.
Oh, I do have to apologise if I was calling Matteo De Bueno Marco De Bueno, who's, of course, was doing Platinum split last week, so it's hard to break the habit. But yeah, there we go. Confirmation of the GT3 results. A third win in a row for Jaakko Matrese. So that really shows you the rich vein of form that he is in at the moment, and it could well put him into the championship lead. Mattia Panci takes his best result of the season so far in P2. It was a very strong drive from the Italian as well. And as you say, it's an all-Italian podium with Matteo De Bueno finishing off in third with a good comeback drive, having lost a bit of ground early in the race, getting back past Zoranovic and Kolosov. Kolosov, with that late move up the inside laser one, will take P4 from Zoranovic. And behind our Lamborghinis, it is the Shadow One Esports trio of Julian Gurin in 6th, Evan Leproux in 7th. Rapin gets his first points in the Vantage GT3 Aston Martin in 8th. Michel Rodriguez gets the McLaren home in 9th, and Johan Kurjin, despite spinning at the end of the first lap, still comes home to take the final point ahead of the luckless Clemens Keinzel. Not the day that he needed, as he potentially has lost that championship lead. Kelsey Osborne sadly did not get to the end, and neither did Kelsey's teammate Jack Bolger. Luca Rubinru in the Lexus, having switched recently to the Lexus, it didn't really do him a whole lot of good today. Him and Stefano Battistella both hitting trouble before the race ended. Now here's the Hypercar results. You want to take him through, Stephen?
Yeah, for sure. It is Marco Patrami winning his home race as well as, of course, the home race for Tatum Esports with Erik Nutsold, and a kind of a surprising P2 then in the end. Drove a phenomenal race, especially in the dry. He really came to life in that Cadillac. So amazing performance by him. Nathan Perron, as you said, first podium for him of the season. We've seen him win in both both bronze and silver, but now podium in gold as well. So congratulations to him. Lucas Sider comes home in P4, with Mateusz Barzank in P5. Then in the end, Francesco Adamu comes home in P6 in the Toyota. So even after all that, the Toyota scoring some points in this race. Matteo Bassan in 7th position, with Matteo De Campo then in the first Peugeot in P8. So the Peugeot really struggling this race, kind of surprisingly, but still scoring some points come the end of it. With Farinelli in P9 and Misha D'Arezzo coming home in P10. And of course, with that result, is Marco Batrami extending his lead. As you can see, Nascudashvili, they're DNFing. It's Robin Dichon in P11 and Fidele in P12, the final finisher in the Hypercar field. Nascudashvili crashing out with 3 minutes to go in this race, failing to limit the damage that Marco Batrami is doing, winning this race and extending his championship lead by a huge margin ahead of the sixth round at Spa in 2 weeks' time. So a nightmare end of the race for Neven Nascudashvili. Mardukovic DNF'd earlier on, as well as did Colombo, Wellin, Petsin, Nonemaker, and Roth. So that's 7 DNFs in this race in Hypercar. As we said before, it's been a drama all around, especially in the Hypercar field, with Nascudashvili crashing out so late in the race and Marco Batrami extending his lead by a huge amount of points. So I think it's gonna be it's about time we hear from those drivers and see what they think after all that.
Fully agree then. So we've got, as you said, Erik Notsold from second, Nathan Perron from third, Marco Batrami a winner in Hypercar, and we got our GT3 winner, Jaakko Matrese. So shall we talk to Nathan Perron first? Because he's been waiting quite patiently, I think, for that first podium So that is something to celebrate, and I'm sure he's got some things to share with us from that Alpine. So joining us now after finishing on the podium for the first time in the gold split in Hypercar, it is Nathan Perron, our favorite Alpine driver. Nathan, congratulations. That was a really, really great fight, pretty much all the way through with Lucas Cedar. And in the end, Cedar just outbreaking himself a bit into De La Roggia. And you somehow get that first podium for Alpine. Very challenging conditions, though, especially in the wet towards the beginning. And you didn't qualify particularly high up the field, if memory serves. Was it P7?
P15.
P15, there we go. As I said, definitely, as I said, not high up the field. So what a performance. You must feel happy with that.
I'm very happy and still under the shock because I didn't know I was going to finish P3.
Nobody ever does. I'd say that's the secret. You can't fix races like that. But wow, there were some amazing fights there. I don't blame you for being a bit shell shocked and exhausted at the end of that one. Obviously, like there's been a couple of races where you've been struggling to get into to sort of get the car home and into the points. I think the last couple. Where were you in the championship? You got that 18 points from Silverstone, of course, but the last three. Obviously, you didn't show up at Qatar, but yeah, Sebring and Imola were very, very tough. So this must be a really big result for you.
Yeah, I'm so happy. I cannot tell you about nice result for the Alpine.
The little Alpine that could. Sverre, any questions for our latest podium finisher?
Well, of course, first of all, congratulations on your first podium here in the gold split. Now, I'm used to seeing you in the silver split, where you're second in the championship, also winning at Fuji. Is it difficult for you to make that switch with the gold series, where the level might be just a little bit higher compared to the silver? Is it difficult for you as a driver to make that switch in terms of where you kind of expect yourself to finish maybe in the race?
Yeah, it's very difficult to adapt yourself to another split because the silver split is simpler, but the gold split is a little harder. So I was expecting first to finish P8, P7, but not in that position. So it's pretty surprising.
I can imagine, yeah. So, yeah, congratulations again from me. It's a well-deserved podium.
Thanks.
Here we go then. So as Nathan Perron celebrates P3, a very well-earned P3 as well, after being so impressive at various points throughout the season in the unfancied Alpine. I guess that's the new unfancied car now that there's no 963. Is there?
Yeah.
Let's talk to the man who finished second in that race. He had a lot of fights throughout that race, Mr. Eric Noetzold. So joining us now is Eric Noetzold, who finished P2 for Pulse Racing Esports. Eric, you were pretty much fighting everybody from start to finish in that one. In the end, a big mistake from Nashkinashvili sees you come home in P2. It looked like you never really got a moment's race to rest to yourself until those final few minutes in that race.
Yes, it was from the beginning to the end a fight. It was crazy. Yes, it was absolutely crazy, but it's good to be back after the last races.
Yeah, of course, Qatar was a little bit of a less than ideal result with a lot of contact involved there too. But I noticed in the rain at the start, it wasn't too many laps before the front bumper of your car was like fully black, which you didn't start the day as fully black. So I think there was a bit of scrapes and scraps here and there. But to be fair, I think everybody kept you were in a great battle like early doors with, was it Lucas Cedar and Barzenk and a couple of others where a lot of these drivers around you all just made mistakes and you were able to sort of keep it calm and pick them off one by one.
Yes, I'm sorry for David, I would say. The difficult one was how much fuel I should make in the tank. Yes, that was 10 or 11 laps. I have absolutely no clue what I have to do, but it was enough.
Well, it's brilliant to see you return to the podium for the first time since Sebring. Sverre, any questions for Eric?
Well,
Thank you.
already
Bye bye. Oh, okay. Sorry.
No worries. Edward already touched on it slightly. Of course, there was a big spin of David Dashkilashvili right in front of you in the final 4 minutes, final 3 minutes even. What went through your mind at that point? You saw him crash, and what went through you? Were you like very happy about it, or were you nervous about yourself? What went through your mind?
At the first moment, I was very happy, but
Don't tell David that.
yeah, I do it. But it was four laps left, and yeah, I hope to bring it home. So yes, thankfully I have it done to the end.
Okay, I wasn't sure how we were going to end, so I thought we'd leave that in suspense. But anyway, thank you very much, Eric. It's always a pleasure to see you in action, and best of luck for the next round at Spa in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right, shall we talk to our Hypercar race winner then, Marco Beltrami? Because he's had to wait quite a while this season for win number 2. But boy, was it sweet winning by 30 seconds. So now joining us is Tatum Esports' very own Marco Beltrami. Marco, you were pipped by David to pole position, and it looked like it was going to be a very close contest between the two of you. But then early in the race, you took advantage of the traffic, nipped through him, and then built a massive lead behind you. It was an exceptional performance. Come rain, come shine, no matter what the track conditions were, you were absolutely able to dominate that one. Congratulations. You must feel great.
Yes, after what happened in Qatar, I really needed one. First of all, I wanna, how you say, dedicate this one to a friend of mine, Leonardo Pagano, which is listening right now. And thanks to him, because we call him the Monza Master. So, yeah. I don't know what happened at the end with David. I really don't know. I need to watch the replay. But yeah, for me, perfect race, other than the qualifying, which I messed it up. Yeah, I'm very, very happy.
Or to miss out on pole by, was it, how many tenths? Was it like 500ths of a second or something like that? I don't remember the exact gap, but it was definitely less than 1/10 of a second. So I don't think you can say it was that big a mess up. But I guess it's the tiny little margins that made the difference there. But you, regardless of whether it's what happened in Qatar with the pit entry or not getting pole position, you more than made up for both of them in that race. That was an incredible performance. Sverre, any questions for the race winner?
Well, first of all, congratulations, of course, on your second victory of the season. Given the fact that P2 in the standings did not score any points today, you're quite extending your gap to the rest of the field. How confident are you that you are able to keep that position? And do you think you can bring this home to win this championship?
Ooh, well, if I make some mistake like I did in Qatar, well, I find it difficult, but yeah, I'll try to keep as much as close the gap between me and him. I'll try to do whatever. I'll try to push 100% every race. So I hope to, and I hope to come here in the commentary box more time. So.
Well, we love having you, and I'm sure Leonardo is going to give you some more tips for the coming rounds. Spa's up next in 2 weeks' time, so best of luck there, Marco. But I'm sure you really needed to reverse the trend of the championship league being cut into the last couple of races, and you are absolutely delivered in spectacular fashion. So I think we'll let you have a well-earned rest and enjoy a fantastic second victory of the season.
Thank you all. Nice to see you. Bye-bye.
Well, I'd love to meet him one day, but I think we just heard him there rather than seen him. But anyway, one final driver to talk to us, and of course it is another brilliant Italian from Tatum Esports, and another winner too. It is Jacopo Matresi. So now Jacopo Matresi joins us, not just as a race winner, but we believe the new championship leader in GT3 in the gold split. Jaco, we didn't see a whole lot of you in that race, admittedly, because you just absolutely controlled it, despite a pretty strong challenge throughout from your countryman, Mattia Panci, behind you in the Lexus. So a very, very accomplished performance, and we were very impressed. Well done. 3 in a row.
Thank you. I was struggling a bit under the wet, but because I had like an hybrid setup.
You hedged your
But,
bets 50-50.
Yeah, was very strange to drive it under 100% on the wet, but and did a lot of mistake, but still controlled, so all good.
Okay, certainly to win by 4 or 5 seconds, it's not quite skin of the teeth stuff, but certainly you had a little margin there in case some of the hypercars were a little bargy.
Yeah.
Whenever you needed it. But yeah, winning your home race, we just talked to Marco. He was very emotional about his victory in hypercar. This must be emotional for you because this is such an important win for you, puts you at the top of the standings.
Yeah, no, there are like 3 races remaining, I think.
You're correct. That's exactly what we're seeing on stream. So you've timed that well.
There is still one endurance that can change a bit the standings. So, okay, now I'm the leader, but nothing is concluded.
Yeah, we can't forget how tricky it was at the start of the season and how much work you had to put in to turn things around. So congratulations on doing so. It's not easy to win 2 in a row. 3 in a row is even harder. 4 in a row. Well, we'll see what happens. But
let's try.
Why not? So, Sverre, any questions for the man that just cannot stop winning in GT3 at the moment?
Well, of course, first of all, congratulations on your 3rd win in a row. It's been an awesome drive once again. No, you two already touched on the things that I wanted to ask you, so no questions from me this time around. But it's again a massive congratulations, and I'm looking forward to see you in action at Spa.
Thank you.
All right, so I think with that said, it's time to let you go enjoy your ever-bulging trophy cabinet, Jaco, and we'll see you at Spa in 2 weeks' time to add another one to it, I'm sure.
Let's see how it will go.
There we go. It's been quite the productive month for Jacopo Matresi then. But that concludes, I suppose, our broadcast from tonight. Very 3 rounds left to go. And all of a sudden, it feels like Tatum Esports are very much back in control. Clemens Keinsel, I did notice at the end there, was trading fastest laps with Jaco, despite getting the drive-through penalty for track limits there. So it definitely felt like Clemens was trying to at least remind everybody that he was still going and still had the pace. So it'll be interesting to see if he can fight back at Spa in a few weeks' time, because I think that GT3 title battle could well, it's definitely not done yet.
Yeah, it's really been the battle between both Tatum and Fisher Racing Esports team. So it's been a great fight in both categories. And I think, like you said, the fastest lap that Clemens put in really is a little message to the rest of the field. Like, I'm still here. Might not be winning this one, but I'm still here and hunting you all down. So with 3 rounds to go, it's still anyone's to win, really. And it's especially with the endurance round like Le Mans still to go, this is going to be a very good one.
Indeed. So we have got Spa next up on the 12th of April for the gold split. Next weekend in the platinum split, we're at Sebring on the 29th of March. Well, I mean, the platinum split is, that'll be Nathan Richards and Chris Buxton talking you through that one, because I will be at Wilton Mill kart circuit in Northampton commentating there. Also coming up soon, I believe we have VMS Contenders Silver Split at Portimao on the 27th of March. In the Bronze Split, the next round is 30th of April at Sebring, which is an endurance round. So I'm sure Sverre will be looking forward to that. And just for the sake of completion, we also still got the Challenger Series going. Their next race is on April Fool's Day, 1st of April, and it's another endurance round, and that is at Le Mans. So I'm sure there'll be all clean, no shenanigans going on there on April Fool's Day. But yeah, there we go. That concludes all the action from a wet and then drying track at Monza. A really, really fantastic. It's been every race in the Gold Split, I think, has been really, really entertaining for different reasons. And these last three could well be such a thriller with so many twists and turns yet to come. So I've been Edward Hunter. He's been Sverre Kolman. Niclas Domino has been our broadcast director. Thank you very much for joining us. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for our trial round of the season. Bye for now.